Pluggers Nation, a very big warm welcome to the latest episode of TWP, the Wellness Plug podcast. I'm Goodluck, my boy, and of course, as always, never rolling alone. I'm with the one and only Dr. G, Tidi Gule in the hizzle, and today a very special episode because we're talking about the pursuit of the good life, you know, the joie de vivre.
Okay.
The la bella vita, depending on, wherever you want to be. But, very much from a South African point of view. And in the pursuit of this, we have three of my favorite people in the world. I can actually say that confidently. They are certainly one of South Africa's greatest and best music exports of recent memory, accolades stretching, around the globe, quite literally and figuratively. We're talking #1 hits on iTunes Europe. You want to talk about streams all around, like 35 million plus on Spotify, 12 million plus views on YouTube and counting. They've toured, they've performed, they've flown our flag high. We love them. Jules, Ben and Tim, but of course, collectively, they're known as Goodluck. Hey, what it do?
We need you as a praise singer on stage.
Listen, don't threaten me with a good time because I'll do it. Good luck! Good luck!
I would love it.
It's so great to have you guys here.
Welcome to the Wellness Plug.
We're so excited to be here.
Listen, a long time coming, and Goodluck has delivered like the most incredibly honest intro, because you're one of the bands that, because we don't get a lot of time to sit with you, you kind of watch from afar, and it kind of feels like a very, very distant love affair, but we have a genuine love affair.
Bless you guys.
And I couldn't, as a doctor, think of more suitable guests for this very, very special episode, because there are certain terms that are thrown around a lot, and the concept of the good life is seen in such sometimes debilitating ways on social media, and I really just wanted a very well-rounded conversation.
Sure.
So I'm incredibly humbled to be able to sit with Goodluck and the three of you. It feels like it's going to be a wellness party we've all been waiting for. So buckle up,
I love that.
I'm bringing my Dr. G Wellnessology energy today. So your brain cells better be as sharp as I trust them.
That's why we have pens and notepads. Take notes while we do this, right?
The nerd will be in this conversation, but I'm incredibly happy to be here with you, and I just wanted to really bring that energy into the conversation, because later on, I will be sharing, out of courage of conversations we have today, part of the journey, and we're here to share authentic, inspiring, healthy conversations. So we have an interesting tradition, I think that's the best way I can put it, in our podcast, where we really check in on the human being. So it's a very simple question that I've insisted has happened throughout my entire career, because I believe it's a really great way to start an authentic discussion on someone's well-being. And it goes a little something like this. Ben, how are you?
I'm okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
Could you give us a rating? Our second tradition is we give a rating 0 out of 10.
It's like a 6.
Okay, I'm rocking
I think
with a 6.
an okay falls between a 5 and a 6, and then it starts getting to good around 7. And 8 is pushing into the excellent, and 9 is 10 pushing into the fabulous. But okay is it's been a long year. It's been a long couple of years, and. Okay is where I'm at. And the wonderful thing is that I'm working towards good, and I'm working towards fabulous.
Man.
Wow.
And that is part and parcel of what a wellness journey is. No day is the same. And that's part of the reason that we've taught our pluggers to put a number on it, is it allows us to connect emotionally with what we conceive as wellness to be, which starts with the feeling, because there's always a mind, body, soul connection that people often miss, and we're scared to get into our feelings sometimes, Ben, right?
buddy.
So we get comfortable really
Yeah.
quickly here.
Yeah.
We get touchy-feely, literally virtually though. Okay, I'm very well aware that there's some real Ben fans, and don't worry, I'm going to behave myself. And on to our very own version. I call her the unsung. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just keep it together.
Yeah.
My girl Jules. That's
Yes.
how we're riding today.
Yes.
Juliet,
How am
there's
I
so many fans that watch your energy. I'm
Yes.
curious to know how you're doing today.
today? Yeah, I think I'm coming out of a bit of an overworked period. So I'd say I'm probably also like maybe a 7
Okay.
out of 10.
Okay.
Because some good things are happening, some good momentum is happening. I'm learning some good lessons.
Okay.
I'm learning how to let go a little bit more.
Man.
I'm trying to practice some discipline on that front. And I think for me at the moment, I'm not there. So I won't say we're in excellent territory, but I'm trying to let go, and I'm trying to be a little less stressed and overworked, and trying to not do everything in my life myself and trust people, because there's so many beautiful people out there that we get to work with on a daily basis. And just finding that balance for me has been a challenge, I think.
Really love the authenticity in that answer, because so much of what we portray on social media is the idea of the good life, and these conversations allow us to get in touch with each other on a really real level.
Yes.
Level, and it always heartens me, warms my heart a lot, as someone who knows how much it takes for public personalities to really share how they're doing, because for the longest time, I know even publicists would say, we can't have our artists and our creatives really be human in front of the public, and part of this platform has really allowed people to feel comfortable enough to share this. So thank you for your answer.
Well, I think it's something that I've learned recently. It's like people want to connect with honesty, right? And they can only connect with honesty. And if you aren't honest as an artist, or if you're scared to be honest, you will always have this separation from your fans. And maybe that's what you want or need. But I don't think that you will ever really get the true connection with your audience if you're not honest. And that does mean being vulnerable as well. So I totally get what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
From that to my brother from another, my Sofas Lahlani co-host, who, as you guys know, is doing the most everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And I constantly do this thing of celebrating Katlego, and we have a very interesting sibling relationship, because it's like, stop it! And I'm like,
It's not even like a stop it. It's like, no, stop.
me, I'm number one fan, okay? I'm declaring. So
Which I appreciate.
What is always critical when you and I reunite is there's a lot that happens behind the scenes for us to be here every time.
Absolutely.
So you've been a very busy man. How are you doing?
Yeah, and it's so weird where you say you're doing the most, and a lot of people have this perception that I'm doing the most, and I feel like I haven't even reached the part of my life where I'm executing at an efficient and effective level. But suffice it to say that in this moment right now, I am at a satisfactory level of my being. I've been working on this building resilience.
Okay, tell me a little bit about
towards the adversities that come with everyday living experiences, right? And so I'm at a 7.5, but with the understanding that that 7.5 is attached to certain things that are happening in my life that are tugging at my attention, pulling me back into that, are you really okay though? And I'm like,
what brings you back to the okay when things are tugging at you?
Oh, man.
You have a really beautiful way of being able to stay peaceful. What goes into that, Katlego?
The challenges I've faced in recent times have really revealed an inner strength in me that I didn't know was really there. And I said this to a friend of mine once with tears in my eyes, because at the time I realized it for the first time, that I'm made of really strong stuff. I come from a family of resilient people. I'm surrounded by strong individuals, both in familial relationships and friendships as well, that have over the years poured into who I am right now. And all of that is coming to bear as life comes at you real fast, right? As it's said these days. So I'm at a very calm and tranquil and satisfied place in my life. You know, as you were telling us about how you were doing, Jules, I remember somebody saying to me actually very recently in a conversation that as a person in the media space and in the entertainment industry, people don't really care about like how you feel. Or, we don't want to see what your life is.
You just have to perform.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And
dance, dance, right? The
Dance
music's
monkey.
on. Dance monkey, dance, exactly. And for me, just like you've said, I seek that genuine and authentic connection with the people who are with me on this journey. It's part of the reason why I signed up to this thing that we call the entertainment life that we chose.
And I think it's so easy for you to put walls up because it's self-protection. But at the end of the day, that genuine connection, every single human being needs that in this lifetime, you know. And if you don't have it, like, what do you have? Nothing really. So
yeah, and absolutely. And right now, you know, I count myself super, super blessed to be sitting in this conversation with you guys. As I said, 3 of my favorite people whom I've had the opportunity to bump into so often, and every single time is just such a joyful occasion, and this is no different.
Well, I do want to say from us at TWP, one of the things that we're not letting slide in your How Are You is how proud we are of the work you've done with some incredible clips that we've seen on a very, very big show that got nominated and is currently awaiting an outcome. We want to give it up for all the hard work that you've done on Deal or No Deal. And brother, take that award. That's all I've got to say to you. And listen, last but not least, the introvert that I found for myself. And ladies, I'm going to have to disappoint you because I found out through research that this one is not available.
what?
Interesting.
That's news to us.
I've decided you're not available.
That escalated really quick.
I'll let you finish.
If I don't bring the shock factor, don't worry, you can DM me for
my
details
days.
on this fascinating human who's going to tell us how he's doing. Tim Welsh, welcome to the Wellness Plug podcast.
Thank you.
Are you well?
How are you doing?
Welsh.
Ben is taking over. Are you Welsh? I love that.
Thank you for having us, firstly. And I think I'm sitting between Ben and Jules. I'm all right to good, probably sitting at a 6:30.
I like that. Half past.
As Ben said, it's been a year. First
What?
proper year
You've done a lot,
post-COVID, it's felt, and we've really taken every opportunity that's come to us, which is tiring. I think we've all touched on a bit, is like, in the entertainment space, we're not allowed to go like, no, we're tired. So how do you do the touring schedule? How do you do that? And we go, no, we love it, which we do, but we're human and it's tiring. So like this past weekend, we did a morning show for half an hour, but I think it was our first off weekend in a while.
Okay.
So right now, that is amazing to have like a Saturday, Sunday pretty much off. But a little bit also like, wow, that's the last one till, I don't know when, March next year.
4 or 5 months, right?
Yeah, so we know that the next period for us is going to be very hectic.
OMG.
And as Kat said,
bittersweet weekend. in
bittersweet,
some ways.
yeah. And as Kat said, it's like the constant pull of like everything that's happening, I feel, is very positive, lots of amazing opportunities that you want to grab, you've really worked hard towards, but there's also the balance of going like, can't do it all, can't say yes to everything. How do I also just stay level? And I think that's something we're all going to have to navigate in the next 4 months. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
And I think this is the perfect start right here
Yes.
because you are in our sanctuary. And
therapy
if there's
session.
if there's one thing we're known to achieve here is real wellness. So welcome to our crib.
Yeah.
Where
Thank
we're going to relax with you.
Can we ask how you're doing? Are we not allowed to ask?
Yeah, we're definitely not letting that
I
go.
always
Good
try to
ones.
avoid this question, and he knows I'm usually very good at dodging.
Yeah, I know. And then before we move
I
on to
just
the
feel
next
like
thing, we've got to be
it's not
like,
the circle's not complete until we find out how Dr. G is, you know?
how
well
are
played,
you,
Dr. Jules.
G?
Listen, it's been a journey being here. I will share a bit later in the episode what's been going on. But one of the reasons I have been waiting with bated breath for this particular discussion is because this is such an important thing to connect with people in the middle of your own journey. So I've been through some really interesting 2 to 3 months. I'm coming out of an 8-week bed rest.
Wow.
And as a doctor, there's been some really serious moments about connecting with my own wellness journey. But what I'm grateful for is I've gotten out of bed. I woke up this morning.
You're looking absolutely
I look like this.
stunning. Stunning.
I'm like, how do you look like
And,
that after 8 weeks?
I know, right? Bed rest
Yes.
will give you everything. But certain things have taken new meaning, and the concept of having these conversations has definitely taken a very, very enriched meaning in my soul, and I believe I know exactly what I'm here to do. Thanks to the health scare that I've had. And this might sound really strange. I'm really grateful for what has happened to me. It sounds absolutely bizarre, but you are more aware than the pluggers are of what's been going on. But there's a clarity that comes with being scared. For your health, for your life, and there's a spiritual cleansing that also comes with that. So I feel more grounded than I've been in a very long time. Would you believe next week I'll be going in for major surgery, but this is the moment I have right now. So I wanted a send off. And this is the best. This is the best send off.
So shall we say you're an 8 then?
Listen, I'm getting to the number.
Okay.
I'm getting there. I'm like that
Jules,
DJ.
you're always
I'm like
guessing
that
the
DJ
number,
that
hey?
I'm just
I'm
trying
like
to
that
fix
DJ that doesn't want to give you the song.
Yeah,
That keeps
like,
playing
come
on. And then boom, it's an 8.5.
That's a drop.
And you know what's so interesting? Highest at the table with definitely the most amount of life challenge in the room that you've had, like physical life challenge.
I think that's the
which is
power
amazing.
of the gratitude of that moment.
Yeah.
To go from barely being able to make it up the stairs to now being able to not only finish complete sentences. I mean, like I said, Kat's been one of those incredible wellness warriors with me on this journey. And we had to really commiserate as a team of what to share, what not to share. But I realized after 17 years, I've sat here and asked public personalities to share their most intimate wellness journeys, which includes the health scares.
Yes.
So I think later on, there's a segment we've included called Wellnessology Minute, because we're bringing back the educational component of the podcast. As a doctor, I've realized it's so important to still hit on those notes. But right now, we're about good luck.
Let's get into that, because I mean, you said that a lot of things have found new definition.
You know what I mean?
And especially what's been happening to you, what's happened to me, and all of us.
Right.
And so, what is a good life? I'm sure we each have different
Excuse my
definitions
overuse of the word.
Ben, what's a good life?
Pause for dramatic effect.
Very necessary contemplation.
Well, let's think about a question before you answer it.
Yeah.
There's so many different things you could say, but I think the root of it is honesty. Because it's about how are you going to have a good life. Sorry, not a good life. Product placement. We're keeping that in. But you can't have a good life if you aren't honest about how you're feeling, about how you're treating people, about the experiences that you're having. And I think so much of our world is based in dishonesty. And I don't think it's like from a negative place, but I think social media does not, perpetuates the idea that being false is about projecting a good life. Whereas in actual fact, and this is what's wonderful about hearing how everyone's actually feeling. I didn't know that Tim was actually feeling like a 6.5. I thought he was more on like a 7.5 to maybe an 8. Wow. So it's nice for me to hear that, I need to be gentler to you. Otherwise I would just I'd push you as hard as I normally do.
We're recording this, right? Yeah.
This is a living proof.
So I think honesty is how you have a good life.
Really like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so all encompassing.
It is all encompassing.
Yeah.
And if you appreciate how big that is and how encompassing. I love that you said that. It is exactly that. It is all encompassing.
Wow. Yeah, because I mean, if I'm even honest with myself about where I was years ago and what I defined as a good life to now, where the good life was, how much is your output? How much are you able to give? Are you plugged into the system? Are you taking every gig? Are you making sure that you're killing every single moment? Now I'm like,
are people seeing that you're doing that?
What? Now it's the spaces in between where I really actually get to breathe. There's so many moments where I'm at home on my own. There's nobody there. Just me and my thoughts about exactly what you're talking about. How not only how you feel, but how you interact with everything else and everyone else around you. I'm appreciating those spaces. And the more of those moments I have, that's when I'm like, this is life. This is good. I like this. I like a lot of this. And in creating that space, I then get to decide who I allow into that space.
Sure.
Kind of like vetting at the door of my existence. Oh, come in, be
because
a part
so many of those
this.
people aren't coming in with honesty. And so you have to take a little bit of time to find out whether or not they're being honest.
And sometimes
And
we're
then-
scared to put up that boundary of vetting people.
And it's okay to do that, because otherwise you're going to let someone in who's going to mess with your good life.
Oh, it's getting real
Dr. G.
in less than 5 minutes.
Here we
It's
are.
a rabbit hole.
Listen, I'm like, I need to keep it together. Jeez. It's meant being alive for me. It's meant being able to really recognize that a day is a gift. Nothing brings you back to that reminder than the idea or the fear of losing life. So for me, the good life is being able to be present, to be healthy, and to be able to share pieces of yourself for the greater good. In the middle of that, having fun. I have discovered something interesting about myself that I've deprived myself, especially the last couple of years. I come across very bubbly, but the idea of fun. Why is Ben disputing this?
I'm celebrating it actually, because that is my experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He has experienced the fun, Dr. G. It's been good to release the childlike CD.
Yeah.
When you are told you have to sit in your bed and do nothing. My sister said it best when she visited me recently, and she said, "This is the most I've seen you relax in your entire existence."
Wow.
So I thought I was putting out really good energy as a wellness doctor and prescribing, rest to all my patients. But when I had to face the very same prescription that I'm so good at giving, things came to the surface. And one of the best things for me was realizing, what does it mean for me to live a good life when I'm watching other people not have the same experience? I'm lucky that I'm here because some people haven't made it. And I do, in this moment, want to send condolences to the Mandela family. Zoe was one of the bravest. Zolega was one of the bravest people. Sorry, I used to call her Zoe in private. Bravest human beings. And it's that kind of stuff. She's in my age group as well. So that was a very important moment for me. The good life for me is being present, being grateful to be alive, and then making the most of each day as you get it.
Yeah.
And there's been an immense joy in the smallest things. I see flowers now that have been in my hood the entire time I've lived there. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, how beautiful is that flower? I've become that cliche. And I'm loving it. So Inner Child City is seeing
beautiful,
the
though.
good in everything. And that for me makes it a good life right now.
That's absolutely
Yo,
beautiful.
what an answer, man. Wow.
You
Tim.
asked.
What's a good life?
What is a good life? Yeah, I mean, for everyone it's going to be different, but I think balance. But it's something I personally struggle with, and maybe it's a creator musician thing.
Yeah.
But like, not overcommitting to one thing and neglecting other aspects of your life, even if that one thing is a healthy, good thing. And I think personally it's like, whether it's music or even opposite out of music, if it's like I really enjoy sport and clearing my head that way, but I would like, I can get into it and end up going all the way, and that's not going to be the answer either. So I think,
And you've tried that.
being able to find the balance, and I've tried it. But again, it goes against, I think, a large part of probably a bit of like, we all have it in us to really focus on one specific thing and go all in, which can equal success or goal ticking and whatever. But long term, is that sustainable, and is that, the best way to do it? So I think that's my thing, is trying to find balance. Haven't found it yet, but looking for it.
I think that's part of the trick, though, is that if you found the balance, your life would be incredibly boring. And it really is
He's
this
got points.
battle that we have with the internal and external dialogues of our life, of striving for that balance, because that's the joy. The joy is in the success of finding that balance, and it's actually in the failure to have that balance that you also find joy, because you're like, wow, I've got to work my way out of this, like what you've gone through. And
Right.
healing is not just about disease, it's about imbalance. In fact, disease sprouts from imbalance. So,
and I think what Doc was saying is like within the balance, also appreciating the moment for what it is. Like, because I've also had like when we're on tour and you're really going hard on the tour thing, it's like, I like get a little bit jealous of musicians that are in maybe spending more time in studio or doing that, and then it'll flip and we'll like the tour schedule will go quiet, and then I go, man, I want to be on the road, like, and then it's just like, you're never happy, like, and actually you just got to, when you're touring, appreciate the good part of touring, and when you're not touring, appreciate the good part of not touring, and like you said, just being in the moment and not always looking for the other.
Ooh, Kat, you have got us talking. This question.
Jules,
you guys all have fantastic answers, and I think I like.
I feel like yours is going to be even better.
No, it's like a combination of everything, I think. But I think also for me, something I'm learning at the moment is connection.
Okay.
Is like quite an overreaching thing, because what is life without connection to everything, and not just to other people, also to yourself. Connection to your higher self, which is something that I think a lot of people lose. I definitely have. Someone said doing complex or something.
Syndrome,
That's
yes.
me. Like,
okay.
Oh yeah?
like I'm an absolute doer. Like to a point where
So if you're not doing, life doesn't feel like it's taking on.
I don't feel like I'm like.
Wow.
I don't feel like I'm living. Like it's that point. If I'm not doing something, I don't feel like I'm. If I'm not achieving something.
Right.
And it can be as simple as like, I sent an email today. I sent an email that was I needed to get off my list. You know. But through doing, you break connection with people, because you're not trusting people to work with you. You're just trying to do everything yourself, and you're like isolated. And the more isolated you become, the more lonely you become, and then your life is just imbalanced. You don't have presence.
Right.
What are you saying? Honesty. You're not being honest with people around you, yourself. Kat, I'm gonna remember your one. What was your one again?
Space, peace,
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 in
between.
Yeah, so you're not going to have any of that, I think, if you don't have connection. So it's like, and I think it's interesting, because I think all three of us have brought up answers of things that maybe we struggle with a little bit in our lives. Like,
Correct.
I'm not that Ben isn't. Ben's actually very honest, to be honest. The most honest person
Too
I know.
honest.
Too honest sometimes. But
it is, of course, it's
But
a
you
struggle.
work on
Honesty,
that, and that I know,
I might be honest with you, but I might be honest with myself.
Yeah.
So like your hit of like saying that these are the things that we struggle with, like the reason why I say honesty is because it's like, if you think about all the different things, when Tim talks about balance, he's going, it's because he's being dishonest to himself.
Yes.
Because he's not honoring what he's actually feeling. He's going like, I'm striving to do something that I don't think is real, and when you're not giving yourself the space and the peace that you want, you're also not honoring that. And that's also you being dishonest.
Yeah.
And it's also being dishonest from the perspective of like, when you're letting other people come into your life to surround you to make yourself busy, you're actually being dishonest to them as well, because you're not actually giving them the real you.
Oh my goodness.
So like, it is, when you said all encompassing, it touches on all of the different
these things. And I think it's
they
powerful,
are
like,
all linked.
And I think connection as well is
a crucial part of this.
Yeah, it is. It's just something I think a lot of people are missing in this modern lifestyle that we have. Like, we are so disconnected from each other, like, and there's so many powerful, like, drivers and mechanisms that have been put in place in the world that are disconnecting us more and more from each other. I mean, even like, I look at the live music scene. This is a really like obvious. My sister said to me yesterday, she phoned me, she's like, I think you need to start, because we threw a concert for Will Lindley, this new artist who's amazing and he's doing so well. And our team, our Get Lucky Entertainment team, it's a business that we have, organizing concerts and events is one of the things we do.
Okay.
And we threw a concert at Old Biscuit Mill. At this concert were 1,500 young people, and it was in all ages. So we had from 16 all the way up to like maybe 45.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of young people came out to party, and she was looking around the room, looking at the energy, looking at how people were getting back from the music, how they were just loving every second,
How inspired they
and
were.
how inspired they were. And she was like, wow, I remember when I was a kid, we used to go out in Claremont Main Road. We used to go out at, town is not so safe anymore. But she drives through these places now, and there are no kids enjoying their teenage years and being free. And I'm not saying they have to be a god and get you drunk, but it's just connecting through music and just connecting, dancing together, being together.
Well, it's connecting through community.
And she said, like, don't you think this is something you should be doing on the regular? Because you could build this. You could build a culture of kids being able to celebrate with each other through music. And I was like thinking about it. I was like,
Wow.
that's a huge undertaking, because essentially I think connection has been lost. A lot to devices.
Yeah.
COVID didn't help. of course. But people are very separate at the moment, you know.
Let's come back to what you just said there.
Yeah.
Lost two.
Lost two devices. Lost.
Like that's the big one, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to throw it in here, and that it's a double-edged sword, because I think there's a lot of community, there's a lot of connection that also happens on devices that isn't possible, and
but do you think that it's honest?
Yeah, I was about to say yes.
Oh. I think where it's going is to a more of an honest place, and there are communities online that are healthy and honest, and not just like if you paint the extreme negative, it's like no substance, like whatever. But there is another side where it's like it's very niche, it's community based, it's serving a purpose, and that is sometimes the only connection some people have, and it's not all bad.
I mean, I'm talking from personal experience. You know, for me, like I've been doing an interesting experiment just on the side. Like I've been monitoring my screen time.
Okay.
And I've been trying to link that with how I've been feeling in a week. It's directly linked.
Wow.
It's directly linked. I can have the most amazing things happen to me in that week and big happy news. But if my screen time is up by 30%, I'm still feeling pretty sad. Like why? How is that?
Well, I challenge that. I don't think you're feeling sad. You remember like so much of our interaction on our device is about a dopamine hit. So what you're actually doing is you've been relatively high the whole time. And so when another exciting thing comes along, it's like it doesn't really feel like anything, because you didn't have the absence of like stimulation to make you're overstimulated. So then when something exciting happens, it's like meh.
Yeah, but I don't think Tim's wrong. I think I do agree that there are definitely
pockets of depth
in the community.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of falseness, and there's a lot of expectation, and there's a lot of putting out this non-reality that is not honest, like Ben said, you know. And I think people feel that, and it makes them feel weird, you know.
Well, I think one of the most interesting and important things about the power of music in conversations like this is that music brings a different noise, and it's often therapeutic, it's often unifying, and it's often healing.
Yes.
And one of the reasons I would like to believe as a band you've lasted as long as you have is because the intention behind your music as Goodluck always has an uplifting, energizing, recharging tone.
Oh, thank you.
So moving into
Can I write that down?
the wellness. Don't worry, girl. These gyms will last.
Tim couldn't even. He's like,
I got too excited. I thought I got away with that.
What was the last one? Uplifting, energizing.
Taken.
What was the last one? Uplifting, energizing,
energizing,
recharging. I like
tone.
That.
So I'm interested. I'm interested on behalf of all your fans. The journey of Goodluck is as important as the music. So, how did it all start? Because we've seen the evolution of all of you as individual artists and as a group over the last 12 years. And firstly, by Hollywood standards, well done.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, as a band, being married for 12 years is like platinum status.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about you as a unit. Take us through how it started. The name itself is just of such interest for me, because I'm just like, sometimes we overthink on these things. And sometimes when you hear the story of how the word and the name came about, it just kind of takes a whole new meaning. So I want to know a little bit about the Goodluck story. And I keep looking at the guy on my right, because I know him and I had a side conversation. I was like, no, let's save this for the podcast. So how did Goodluck start? Take us back to 2011. And it might even be earlier than that. But obviously we know your story as your fans from 2011.
Yeah. Look, it started... Goodlucks didn't start with Goodluck. It started with a different band. And and that band didn't start with anything other than just this idea of making music with other people is fun. And I'll never forget the very first rehearsal that I had with Jules in our friend's flat. And I brought my drumsticks along, and I just like patted the floor. But even that, was a wonderful moment of making music together, and from that moment it evolved like anything evolves. Like it's it's a relationship, it's a child that kind of grows into a thing, and it blossoms, and it takes on its own life, and it starts doing things that you like and things that you don't like. And it's your responsibility to kind of like guide that little spirit in its way. And it's a weird thing to think of a band like that, but ultimately it's true of any entity that you've created, whether it's a brand or a book or a song. It takes on a life of its own when it starts interacting with people outside of the creators, because they start imparting their influence on it. But the name actually doesn't have an exciting story behind it.
I still want to hear it. I'm still invested here.
I mean, the crux of it, I was sitting with a friend, and it wasn't even Jules. It was another friend of mine.
Louis Roux.
No, it wasn't even Louis Roux.
Who was it?
It was Tim Tanzer.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this.
And
Look at what we review.
and we were just talking about like band names, and I had this vision. I wanted to have an electronic project. I always loved electronic music, and as a drummer, I was always trying to like make my acoustic drums sound electronic, which let me tell you is very difficult to do, especially when you don't have any money.
True. There you go.
And so I was always striving to like create this like other kind of sound for the music that I was falling in love with, from drum and bass to trip hop to dance music, to trance. And we were talking about band names, and we were like, wow, there's so many strange band names around. There's like everything, like all the bands have got like a color involved. It's like Maroon 5 and like
Pink
and blue. And I mean, like, and we were like talking about like these such cuck names. Like, and then we were thinking,
hey, all love to Black Motion, yo.
I mean, like, like. They're cuck in the perspective of that they're not conveying anything. It's like, what does Maroon 5 mean? I mean, like, really, what are you trying to say? It's like you've literally just picked two random words and stuck them together. And the interesting thing is that the audiences, they stop relating those words with what they mean. They don't think of the color maroon and the number 5 when you say Maroon 5. You just think about the band.
Yeah.
And so then that kind of like intellectually stimulated me to a point of thinking like, well, then it doesn't really matter. You could call yourself gobbledygook. And like, and if you just said it enough time and the audience saw it enough time, they would be like, yes, that's the best band name. And then we were thinking about like what band names like no one's ever said. Like there's like gobbledygook is definitely one of them. But we were thinking like people always say good luck to you when you go on stage. Unless you're in the theatre, in which case they say break a leg.
Yes, exactly. That would be
quite have
Break a leg's quite a cool name.
Same ring to it for me. And then also like the strategic part of my brain was like it's 2 4-letter words. Like it's like really strong. It's like easy to think. But there have been massive disadvantages to calling ourselves Goodluck.
Yeah.
Why?
really.
Because when your song is back announced on the radio and you hear them say Maroon 5, you immediately associate it with the band Maroon 5 because it's so distinctively them.
Yeah, Goodluck is a word people say a lot. And Google a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's it's a term. You can't
Exactly. You're competing with every other time that someone says it.
Maroon 5 or
Did
whatever.
not think about the Googleability factor, guys. Got it. So to distinguish yourself, so when you then met that interesting crossroad of, okay, our name is a great name, but maybe not as unique from a word combination point of view.
Exactly. Great as the moniker for a band.
Right.
Because it's like, wow, what a lovely thing to say. Yeah. And people always say it to you. And then like you're putting that kind of energy back into the world. But it's not as immediately noticeable. They just go like, oh, maybe they were saying that to them. Like, oh, it's such good luck that they wrote that song. No, that was the band name.
But it's it's esoteric value for me. It kind of outweighs that non-Googleability because say that word enough and things start to shift. Right. You know what I mean? I like just say it out loud and it starts to come to you, and I really believe as an outfit. Yeah. Of course we've not had a perfect career. Sure. No one has, and we've had to work very hard. But at the same time we've had a lot of luck. And some would say that, like, you know.
And maybe that's also part of the longevity, you know, like it is extraordinary. And like we totally take it for granted. We forget about like however many years ago we were on the Espresso Show together.
I saw that footage,
iconic
by the way.
moment.
Oh my gosh.
The very first episode, which is, I don't know how
Kat
many years ago.
basically saved us from a non-show.
That was
Insane.
like if I think back to how many years ago and that's just one of the little adventures
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
happened in a month of like, and it's long. It's
And now it's how many years?
It's 2000
down the line?
2009.
Can we
is actually
minus
technically-
3 because I kind of feel like those years didn't count?
Do you want to erase the hard years?
No, I don't want to raise them. I just like, I don't know. It's tricky, you know.
You know what? My mind is kind of stuck on one of the first things you said about the origins of the band, right? And you like, it was about making music together and having fun. Because all throughout the evolution of the band,
Yes.
you've had to also shift your mind into a very serious and focused, driven side of the business side
Yeah.
of music, which I think
Oh, you're getting deep now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'll
No,
lighten it
that's
up in a
right, that's
second.
good. Yeah.
You guys have done so incredibly successfully. Everywhere I've gone, where I've had a touch point with you guys, has been incredible. Not just from my personal experience, but from the experience of other people with you. And I feel like that fun element has always been there. It might have,
Exactly.
it might not have been expressly stated, but you certainly feel it in everything that you do.
Sure.
How have you managed to do that? Like not lose your essence whilst competing in this world of...
I'm silly. Of course we've lost our essence.
Of course.
What do you mean?
Like
Really?
Yes,
Yes,
every week we lose our essence. This is the balance that Tim's talking about. It spirals up and down for everyone, all
There
of
are
us.
so
all the
many
time.
moments when it's not
But I guess
fun.
in the art
But
that I have seen...
You know?
what you get to see.
Yeah, there we
Over
go. There
12
we
years.
go.
And this is why I said about honesty.
Okay.
Sometimes we're
Go
not
for
having
it.
fun.
Okay.
Yeah?
You know, and
Appreciate
but we also, as this is also our service.
Right.
You know, Tim and I talk about this a lot. Like our service to our audience is one very simple thing, to help them have fun. And so like, if we don't look like we're having fun, it's harder for them to have fun. So our gift when we're not necessarily feeling like we're having the best time is to fake it. And that's a responsibility, and it's not a bad thing to fake it. It's not being dishonest. It's a service.
True.
It's part of the performing part.
And it's about staying honest to what our service is,
Right.
which is that like, so when you see us having fun, like,
a
and
lot,
actually,
a lot of the time we
talk
are.
about what we were talking about on the weekend, because
Tim.
we saw something on the weekend that wasn't fun.
We don't have to mention.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
No, it was just it was a good reminder that like if you compare to a restaurant, you don't know what's happened in the kitchen.
Behind
Right,
the scenes,
and maybe the head chef and the what, and they had the worst fallout ever,
Sure.
and it was chaos. But at the end of the day, they pulled it together,
Their
and
food
what
is
was
on-
served
That's
to
right.
the person
Was
had a
Good
great
analogy,
time. Now
right?
that person, they like don't need to know what happened in the kitchen. All they need to do is enjoy their steak or whatever's got served to them. And sometimes I think we've maybe got in the trap of bringing what happens in the kitchen to the thing. I mean, if the chef came and was like, listen, by the way, this all went wrong, and that you're going to look at that steak differently. But if you didn't know, and I think the taking was like, yeah, like things aren't always going to be perfect, but at the end of the day, if we've got a steak out, enjoy the steak for what it is. Don't bring the baggage, and don't let those things take away from the joy of like a 90% successful or like good event or steak or song or anything.
Because you beat yourself up as an artist a lot. Like you can walk
Sure.
off stage, and we can often, like probably 60% of the shows, we
Sure.
walk off stage and someone's got some sort of like, why did you do that? Or why did we do that? And that was terrible. And then
80%.
maybe, or we're clapping on the sound engineer
Like
or
real
whatever.
siblings, right?
But there's always adjustments, and
Okay.
I think we observed an artist having this exact thing where, you know, the gig was incredible, but he didn't have a good time, and he was so bleak after the show, but we saw everyone else having a good time. And it's kind of like, it was good to see that, because we were like, remember, you're totally disenfranchising the audience. They had the best time ever.
Sure.
You should be happy with that win. You should be like, that I got to facilitate that.
Ooh.
And even though I was struggling, maybe I couldn't hear properly, or like, you know, I like maybe the lighting was flashing in my eyes, and I was
That
like
one line.
I thought I was pitchy or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't feel that.
You need to celebrate
know?
the success of of their experience.
Yeah.
And what you deliver.
As you celebrate your
Right.
Because
Yes.
what you
Not
end up
always about
doing is you
you.
go like, oh, it's all about me and I had a bad time, so like I don't care that they had a good time. It's like,
Yeah.
no, like, wow, it's 50-50. Like,
Correct.
you know, when
Exactly.
you're presenting and like you come off and you're like, oh, I fluffed that line and messed
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But the viewer was like, wow, it was like, you know,
Like,
I really
Katlego
felt
made my
that.
day.
It's the service.
Yes.
Some-
It's a
it's
service
the
thing,
Yes.
you know?
And-
A big part of artistry is being willing to be generous all the time with your gift, with your wellness. And what I'm hearing from the three of you is sometimes being generous on stage requires you to sometimes, right? To kind of compromise on attending sometimes to your wellness. That doesn't mean that it's less of an authentic
Thing,
delivery and service, but as someone who's been in service as a job, I'm not always okay as a doctor for the day, but the generosity understanding is I've still got to pitch up for my patients, make sure that they're okay. And in similar ways, musicians, that's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Even when you may not be at your best holistically, the call to service remains. And that's why for me, music is slightly different to
Yeah.
other performing arts, because there's a generosity you guys have to sometimes really reach for deep within. And sometimes you're just not quite yourself. And what is beautiful to hear is just how real that is, because a lot of musicians would shudder before they confess that they're not always feeling 100% okay when they get up on that stage, but those notes will note, right? and it's important to actually connect both experiences, because as a fan, it's humbling to hear that as artists, you are as human as we are, because
Yeah.
what we get is the reels and the pictures of a great time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's a lot that goes in as artists for you guys to give us that great time. And that's the generosity aspect I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
It is generous of you all the time to show up for your audience. And sometimes we abuse that privilege. And I'm aware fans don't always behave in a great way. Sometimes we demand it outside of you. I mean, we demand it of you guys outside of the performances, which is what social media has introduced an interesting dynamic, right? Because
yeah.
now we just want the good luck energy everywhere, you know. I'm sure you guys come across this. So what I love is how real this conversation is, because you've been in the game for as long as you have. You are internationally renowned. And most artists who are emerging don't know that it takes this capacity discussion to say, what's my capacity today? What can I give today? And yet those gigs, every gig, you know, you've got to hit it at a 10.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into that. And I really love where the discussion is going.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I
for
think
saying that.
service is, and I love that you said balance, because it underpins like all of these different things.
Right.
Service, whether it's like a medical thing, whether it's an artistic thing, whether it's in the food industry, whether it in whatever way, like, you know, Jules, you spoke about connection. Connection is about service. So it's like, even when you're having a conversation, you're giving service to someone by listening to them. Okay.
Wow.
And service is about reward and sacrifice.
Well said.
It's so when you are helping someone as a doctor, sometimes you don't have to sacrifice that much, because your cup's full and they may be giving you a lot. And so it's like, it's just effortless. You're like, oh, it's so easy, and I'm loving working with you, and I'm able to like share my knowledge and my wisdom of how I want to help you be better. And so you don't actually have to sacrifice much. But in every connection, there is an amount of sacrifice
give and take.
and reward.
Yeah.
And so like, it's just important to remember that balance is going to play out. So the day where you're having to dig deep,
Yeah.
you're sacrificing a little bit more than you normally do. So
And
what?
then it's
What,
important.
you want to get it like a noddy badge for that? Like, do you know how many times?
All the references. Come on,
How many people
Give it
there
up.
are in the audience, okay,
Yeah.
who are feeling terrible
Right
who
now.
actually their feet are sore, they've been standing there, they weren't able to get a drink at the bar because
It's
the queues were too
raining.
long. You know,
Or
someone's jostling
they've
them.
maybe worked really hard to save the money to be able to afford the tickets.
You want to bring, I mean,
You know,
yes.
maybe this is like their one thing that they've been excited for, and if you let them down, like, that's terrible. You know, that's not even acceptable in my
The
opinion.
fact that you guys think like that, though, is one of the reasons I think you are one of our most successful bands internationally, because you can see the investment you as a team give to every performance. I mean, I've seen from the Joburg days to your concerts overseas, including Vietnam, and you're currently on an international tour. If you don't have a ticket, sorry for you. But one of the things I love is there's a consistency when you watch a Goodluck performance. The energy is always there. Always there. The commitment musically is unmatched. And I think...
I mean, I'd love to see your calorie count at the end of it.
I mean, how it's a fitness experience. But what I want to ask from that as a wellness doctor is, because I know how much it takes to be the human beings you have to be. 3 things that each of you do to stay well, mind, body, and soul. Because it's such a relentless schedule, and to be doing this for 12 years, come on.
Wow.
If I were to open up your bodies right now, I'll find some things.
I think you should start with Tim, because he's probably the most
is he the
fit and healthy out of all of us.
I feel like him and I are going to have a little panna contest outside here.
3 things, Tim, that you do to stay well, mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, well, like I mentioned earlier, for me it's sport. I have to be active. So that can be, running is the easiest because you can run anywhere on tour. You can take running shoes and then you're good to go. But if you're in Cape Town, cycling, surfing, whatever, but I've got to move and sweat.
Okay.
Problem with that though is when we are busy, it is a physical job, like the traveling and then the hour on stage. So sometimes like the mental benefits of being active,
right?
I like want that, but physically I'm drained.
You're exhausted.
So that's something I struggle with. And then what is it? 3
things to stay well, mind, body, and soul. So what do you do in general?
Can I sidetrack you just for a moment there, just on the physical thing? Because for me as a person, it's also quite a thing. And recently I was playing football with a group of friends, and while I was waiting on the sidelines to play, I just kind of looked up and I said, my goodness, I'm so thankful to have a healthy body. I made
a body that works.
Yes, a body that works. I made that like a conscious acceptance of gratitude in that moment. So for you, when you're running or whatever physical activity you're up to, is there something that you practice, whether it is that mantra of gratitude or just how you align your thoughts that brings you back to that full cup?
I think, great point. I think it's actually the clearance, like you said, the space of like when you are struggling to breathe because you've been running, you're not thinking of anything. You're just thinking about breathing. So it's actually not, for me, it's not like that's the time where I get to unpack things or think about it. It's like, I don't think about anything. When I'm surfing, I'm just thinking about the wave or that, and that creates the space for me.
A Kopfvakantie.
Yeah.
It's so Cape Town.
So it's actually the opposite. If I say it's like it's getting away from.
Sure, that is still a wellness practice because stillness. You see, what people miss about the art of wellness, it's the balance you were talking about earlier is the running and the recharge. The running and the recharge, and your mind, as much as and your body and your spirit need this active negotiating dance between being active and resting, being active and resting. So what I am loving and hearing in your relationship with movement is the recharge. So what most people sometimes miss about exercise is that it's medicine because it is a recharge opportunity for your brain. So sometimes we engage in high intensity sports, which do sometimes the opposite if you don't rest enough in between those sports, where you are running ahead and you're using a lot of energy. But you are already doing an activity just to comfort you. You are actually already pouring into that balanced conversation that you were raising earlier. Exercise is critical and important for someone like you going forward, even as an artist, to sustain throughout your career because it is a recharging opportunity between you and your body.
I mean, he's very disciplined about it. He puts his exercise schedule in our Goodluck calendar. So we all know when Tim is doing his boxing and his triathlons.
Running, boxing, cycling. Yeah, I did in COVID. I was into triathlon, so swimming there.
He even shaved his legs.
No, that's a lie. That
Dr. G loves that.
That and my pseudo girlfriend are both lies.
Well, we'll have that discussion after the podcast, and I'll verify. What else do you enjoy doing to keep yourself centered and grounded in the middle of all that schedule?
I think also social connection outside of the entertainment space, and that's also something that can be tricky because we work in a social environment, but sometimes it's almost a bit fake. because if you are performing in
That's
front of
very
5,000
honest.
people, it's like, wow, you meet people all the time and you
everyone's like,
are
"You're great."
Yeah, but it's also people that you're meeting in a moment, and there's no depth or long, you know what I mean? Where it's like, say, a childhood friend from when you were 12, you haven't seen them for half a year because you've been on the road. And then the complex thing is when you get off the road, you, like, same as being physically drained, you're also a bit emotionally drained. So the thought of like going for a drink or catch up is like, I just actually want to be alone. But if you fall into that trap, you actually start losing your real wholesome connections. And not that there aren't wholesome connections with fans and stuff. It's just like, it's a trap to be aware. So pushing through and finding the energy to keep the connections with your community. I said like friends, but it's also family and you know, and I think also our relationship, keeping that good as a band, because you know, those 10,000 people don't come with you to the hotel, on the bus, on the plane. So like our relationship is also very important with our well-being and how we're feeling.
So nurturing connections and nurture and building or sustaining emotional intimacy, which is a very delicate thing. You're right, because sometimes I can imagine with the distance, with your schedules, your loved ones obviously have to immediately and have had to understand, and I'm sure Jules, I'd like you to come in here, have had to understand for the longest time that you are part of a brand called Goodluck, and you are an artist and you're a celebrity. Let's use some of the terms, right? And staying well in the middle of that does take a lot out of you guys. So Jules, you're definitely next on the chopping block in the hot seat of this the question of the 3 things you do to stay well.
Well, I mean, it's funny you say that, because I think family is going to be my number one thing. Like, I
love that.
Yeah, I'm very close to my family, and you know, I just feel like they've known me my whole life.
Okay.
You know, and like they have. I don't feel like that. No, but it's just
Dr. Peter.
That's a very good point. Never thought of it that way.
I've said that to my sister before, and she loved it.
But interestingly,
But you know what,
two
Jules,
of
it's
the
a
people.
lovely thing to say, because
It
maybe like a
is,
lot of
because some people don't know their families.
They don't acknowledge
Yeah.
that they've seen you warts and all. And
And also they've been very understanding of the dynamic that we have and supported me throughout this journey, which has been amazing. But I think the 2 of the people that I actually love spending the most time with are the latest additions to my family. There's my 2 nephews that I have.
Oh, you're an auntie.
I love spending time with kids, because they they don't care about anything other than just being here right now, and like
and sweets.
and well
And what do they call you, if I may ask? 'Cause-
Lolo.
That is the cutest
Lolo,
thing. Shout out to
Auntie Lolo.
Lolo's
But just Lolo,
nephews.
I don't know. I mean, and nowhere near the name Jules. I don't know where it comes from. I know my siblings used to call me that through my childhood, so it's kind of just stuck with them.
So family?
And my family and my folks, I guess. I'm very lucky to have 2 very strong parents who are still together, and
Hey, mom and dad.
warts and all, because they've had a beautifully fiery relationship my whole life.
Okay.
But they're very much in love, which is lovely. And
Right.
and then I think, honestly, I've had a few friends that I've managed to cling on to through this whole process. It's not easy for friends, like you miss weddings, you miss 21st, you miss so many things that eventually they kind of start giving up on you a little bit, and I think it's not their fault. Like once you don't have weekends, so once you haven't seen someone for 5 years, they're kind of like, we're not going to phone her to see if she's free for the rugby on Saturday or whatever, like the bride. But it's okay. And I think there are friends that I've managed who do understand, and even new groups of friends who I've managed to like acquire, who do understand the dynamic and are empathetic, and they'll still invite me and they still expect to know, and when they get a yes, they're happy and I'm happy. And
we love you guys for that.
Exactly. We love you. Shout out to all of them, the quarantine and all my friends who've been, and my best friend Jess, who's also stuck with me.
Quick question. Sidetrack, because I struggle with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
On the one hand, you're trying to apply yourself as much as possible to your journey and creativity and your gift and the service.
And it's 24 hours a day, man.
Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like you're giving so much more to the service of your industry and what we're doing than to the people who are closest to you. And I suffer with that a lot, because I when I get out of the system, I go, oh my word, have I neglected these relationships too often? Have I not called enough, checked in enough? How do you do that to ensure that the ones that you do have, that you value, those relationships are strong? Because then I feel like I don't want to be that dude who at 50 years old, 60 years old, I go like, So where's my community? Where's my
Where's everybody?
friends?
Yeah.
Who am I going to invite to my wedding?
For sure.
Because like,
Look, I think
So honest.
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, you have to remind yourself. And I think I'm very lucky that I've got Ben, who really reminds me all the time. Like, we haven't done that. We haven't checked in with that person, find that person. No, Tim as well. Tim is a very balanced guy. And he's also like an example, I think, you know. When he goes and has a beer with his friend, I remind myself, I also have friends. I need to phone them. You know, it sounds silly,
that.
but like,
Yeah.
it is. It's literally because you get so bogged down with...
She's not lying when she says she has to remind herself.
I literally
Okay.
do. Like, it's.
You guys are that busy, right?
We have probably to our own fault done a lot of this. We've been very independent about our journey in our career.
Sure.
So, you know, we kind of self-managed as a band. We have
Get
booking
Lucky Records,
agents.
right?
We have amazing people that are in our lives. But at the end of the day, at the top, running the show, it's us. You know, and
You're
it stops
artists
with
and
us.
entrepreneurs.
And
it's
It's Jules.
it's me a lot
I
of the
like how
time.
we-
flowers.
Yeah. So I think, you know, from my side, I spoke about this earlier,
Yeah.
like learning to
We
trust
did
people and
chat.
connect and let go
Yeah.
of stuff. It's like my journey and process at the moment, but it's definitely being ridiculously busy with all the little things.
Yeah.
And prioritizing the right things has been a big challenge for me. You probably
Yeah.
can relate.
Yeah.
So I think I'm lucky that I have people in my life that are close to me that remind me. And I think
I like
at the end of the
human
day,
reminders.
I will pick up the phone or
Yeah.
send a message or, you know, and I also have amazing friends that check in with me.
Yeah, I get the sense that you've
which
also
is-
made peace with the fact that you're going to be on this journey of
For a long time.
working at it.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
don't have to have it figured out like,
Yeah.
oh, it's locked in. Like,
No,
yeah.
no, I don't want that to become a pressure point.
I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Because I knock myself quite hard on the head about like, why am I not good at this? The one thing that
man.
or one of the things that I really want to be good at, because like alongside being like a good dad and being a good leader in a family unit that can then contribute meaningfully to a community, I feel like that's one of the key points that I have to work at.
Yes.
But the fact that I haven't
It's a
gotten it,
responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
and the fact that I haven't gotten it right yet, I go like, wait, where did I miss that part of the puzzle? And where do I need to retreat back to in order to find it and bring it into the current
So
reality?
interesting. That's so interesting.
And
yeah.
what I'm getting from you, and it's giving me a certain sense of peace,
Yeah.
is that it is completely okay
It's a work in
to
progress.
still be
Yeah.
working at it at 30 years plus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're ever going to have a perfect situation living in the crazy intensity of the industries that we've chosen.
Yeah.
This is a fringe industry. We exist in a fringe industry, and it's a fringe
So
industry
well said.
because it's not connected to the rest of what our community is doing.
They're
Okay?
working up. They're going to 9 to 5.
They have a Friday.
And what
They have
people
Fridays,
feel like
they have
is
We don't have
real
a Friday.
life. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Exactly.
Every day is Monday.
Yeah.
That's it.
But the beautiful thing for us, okay, which is a nice little balance, is that we don't have a Sunday evening.
Okay.
The lovely
But
composition of the carte blanche music, which signifies
the end of your
death
life.
knell of that weekend of Resource.
I almost want to
Okay.
play the cop.
Yeah.
And so that like tragic feeling that you have on a Sunday evening of the fact that you've got to wake up on Monday tomorrow and rejoin the ranks of traffic heading into town to go to your job.
Right.
We don't have. So there are, it's not to be like sob about like, oh,
Sure.
No.
but it makes it really difficult because that community doesn't understand us.
What you are up to.
Okay.
Correct.
And they can't because they
Correct.
are in their own mill.
Right.
And we're on the outside, like peering in, going like, Tim and I talk about this really, like how nice it would be to have a 9 to 5, and like
To be a software
like,
developer.
we could go for drinks on a Friday evening with our friends. It would be like
They would be
this
happy, but the reality is they would be happy for like 5 minutes and then they'd be like, can we go on tour again? Yeah.
So it's kind of knowing what you're giving up, and I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is there's almost an inherent and growing acceptance that when you choose a certain life, there are certain concessions that come with it,
Yes.
and now you're in this interesting era collectively as a group where you're learning to be at peace with your path and still amplify the areas that you don't want to lose. Connection, relationships, family.
Yes.
And that's the negotiation. I always say to people, you know, we always try and arrive perfectly at every scenario in our lives. And life is an actual ongoing journey of negotiating with yourself. Some areas and some chapters you'll be giving more in one area and less in another. And it's learning to live with that, because you will not be in a state of peace if you keep, you know, bashing on yourself all the time. I'm not perfect here. I'm not perfect here. Accept the errors, the areas sometimes in your life that you've got to put more energy on, and just make sure that you're able to, when you're on your downtime, recharge the ones that have kind
It's
of
a consistent cycle of
I
sacrifice and
hope
reward.
there's some young people listening to this, because this is something that I think
The good news is, fortunately, our podcast does have a lot of young listeners. So
because this is something that we're only learning now in 30 plus years, you know, and like we've been whipping ourselves constantly for the last, you know, 20, and it's kind of like if you can understand this, what you're talking about now, and just observe it and just be aware of it and conscious of it, like I think it's going to help you, whatever career path you choose, it's going to help you just be a bit more gentle on yourself, and that will inevitably invoke more happiness, I think. So
Sorry, I completely sidetracked you there in terms of you speaking about
that's it. Like, I think those are, we can Ben, now those are my things. That's me. I think
that's how we flow. And Ben, of course, you've been having a lot of side commentary. So, you know, now I want to know from you what 3 things you do to stay well, mind, body, and soul. That was inevitable, wasn't it? This is our soul.
Obviously there are lots of things. So it's about trying to choose which ones I want to convey. That
the ones that have the most impact on you.
Well, I mean,
positively.
Ben, you got to talk about your hiking.
Yes. So I go for hikes on my own.
Oh,
and that
man
is
after my own wellness heart. Love hiking.
I'm very connected to Fynbos for some reason. I don't know why, but like I have this like.
Because you were a druid in a previous life. Carry on.
Okay. yeah. You knew what I studied. You
You should tell them.
So I'm very connected to, like, I have it feeds my soul.
Okay.
And when I walk in Fynbos on my own, I can, and I know this sounds very.
No, it is actually real wellness.
But it definitely, I can feel it filling me up.
There we go. It is your recharge.
And so that's
it's
a very,
tank.
very, it's a very
tank.
important thing as well for me to be on my own.
Right.
Yeah, I asked yesterday.
So solitude.
I was like, can I come on your hike with you? It was like, he thought, he's like, I'm actually going to say no. It's my me time. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Can I maybe contribute to the little pot of weirdness so that you don't feel weird on your own? I have these moments, right, when I'm, let's say, driving, let's say, to work or to drop off a little one at school, whatever, and there's a certain way in which the sun is shining into my eyes and hitting a green bush, and where I literally feel like God made this sunrise or sunset just for me, because he understands me and he knows how much I am getting from this. It's mine. Moments. So like that feeling that you get from walking on your own in Fynbos and it recharges you. I could literally be going through the worst and I go, so this is the reason why there's life.
And by the way, Mother Nature is the best pull you can ever have.
So you realize that you are God.
Well, that's another rabbit hole we can go into, right?
What you are feeling is a reflection of your pride of what you've created.
My goodness.
And that the sun shining on you and you acknowledging how beautiful it is an opportunity for you to remind yourself of how powerful and amazing that you are in that creation that you are connected to.
Well, God is in you. Maybe it's a better way of saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not his gift to you, it's your gift to you. Like,
brain is currently going.
When I'm walking in the Fynbos and I'm loving how beautiful it is.
It is, yeah.
I'm loving that it is part of me. And I know that sounds like really hectic, but like to listen to like what you said now, it's not to take away your relationship with God. It's to remind you that you are God. And your relationship is actually with yourself.
Made in his image.
I don't know about Kanye West on the
podcast. What's happening today?
That's a beautiful thing.
That's what I believe. That's my
we
thing,
got you.
You are not,
We've got you, Ben.
It is
separate from.
You aren't separate from it.
We
and
hear
he
you.
never wanted you to be separate from it because you never wanted to be separate from it. And we just created this like kind of narrative now where we've displaced our own involvement in what God is. because it allows us to have like so much space for our own nonsense.
And then we bring it in.
You know.
I want to get back to your three
so,
things.
Okay, so we have walking the
Don't
famous.
rob the plug from your hands up, Ben.
The other thing that I
Try the
love
famous.
to do is have a sauna. I love going in the sauna.
Like me.
Yeah.
I've always dreamt of having one. Okay.
Sure.
Why do you
He
love
bought
it?
So
himself one.
I recently got one because
I'm
they are.
visiting.
I got it.
Yeah, you can.
I
Wait,
got
you
a-
buy a sauna? Don't they
Yes.
get built into
You
it?
actually
No, you
can.
can buy. They've got infrared ones now
Yeah.
that come as like, and you can buy them. They've got like different sizes, and obviously different
Wow.
price points, but they are marginally achievable for like people. It's obviously an investment, but it's an
Yeah, sure.
investment in yourself.
Yes.
So that
Lots
sacrifice
of
that you're
therapeutic
making is then
benefits, I
going to
can
give you a
confirm.
reward. Wonderful balance. There we go. And then the other thing that I think
Yeah?
is going to be a nice one for people to like think
To know
about,
about
which Jules
you?
doesn't understand,
Oh.
is I play games.
What games?
Doesn't matter.
Like strategy games where he's taking over islands
No. It doesn't matter what the game is. Doesn't matter
You mean
what the game
game on a
Blowing
device?
up
I'm assuming on a
villages,
device.
and I'm just
Okay.
like,
is. So Jules also plays.
You already
like,
sound like you have thoughts,
the
Jules.
way that Jules describes it is silly games. Okay.
Okay, how do you
Okay.
describe your time with the games?
Important games.
Okay.
Because they
Give me an example of a game you really love.
Well,
I'm sure there's a fan right now itching.
There's like a little World War II strategy one that I play. It doesn't matter what the game is.
World War II, Ben? Okay.
Okay. It doesn't. Like Jules plays one where she kills
Plants
zombies.
versus Zombies. That's
Okay.
the best game ever
So wait,
invented.
what do you get
Plants
from
are
the game?
killing the
Because it's
zombies.
more than about. It's not the game. It's
not
the
the game.
playing
Yeah.
of the game that does something for
It's
you.
the detachment from your reality
Okay.
that just allows you.
So a
and
bit
like,
of
this is what Tim's
escapism.
talking. Remember how Tim said he's breathing so hard that he can't think.
Yes.
So when you're in the game, that the application of your thoughts into like it's actually a meditation.
Okay.
So this is why people actually are addicted to games, is because it's
Escape,
Like, we think
yeah.
that it's like such an evil thing. It's not an evil thing.
Okay.
We have an incredible ability to meditate. We all have it. It's just what you practice at in terms of your style of meditation,
Right.
whether it's reading books or sitting on a mountaintop with your legs crossed,
Yeah.
or that you're focused in a game. This is a meditation.
I got you.
It's an absence of mind, whether it's all running. You know, I mean, like Nike did like crazy adverts about this. Just you in the road. You know, like and we shouldn't be vilifying the different aspects of how we meditate and why we meditate. We should just be like celebrating the fact that you're taking the time out to do it. Okay.
So the important thing that I just want to interject on here, Ben, is that as long as you have good eyesight, Dr. G is good with this trend, because one of the key things that we've been trying to navigate medically with anyone who spends a lot of time with any gadget,
I'm gonna
right?
stop you right there. What did Tim say? Balance.
Uh-oh.
You're not allowed to spend too much time.
There
on
we
the
go.
game
But do
because-
people know how much time is too much time? See, you're the mature version, and I love that because we can give pluggers examples of how to keep some of your favorite things going in a healthy way. One of the reasons you may feel a resistance or a push sometimes with concepts like gaming, as a doctor, I'm actually pro that, by the way. My issue with a lot of even my gaming community is it's all about the time management part. So I love that for you, it's a downtime experience, because for a lot of our youngsters, it's actually all they do all day. And while I can appreciate the benefits of it, what we also are very mindful about as a wellness community is this conversation of how do we manage our pleasurable moments
that's an
and make
addiction,
sure
and
that
that's-
it's not harmful
that's an
for us in the
addiction,
long
and
run.
that's an imbalance.
Correct.
And
But a lot
that's-
of people don't know that
They're
blurred line,
addicted,
Jules,
yeah.
of when
Yeah.
when have I moved to addiction? Because as long as something isn't a substance,
Yeah.
so we can go there for a little second.
Yeah.
It's very difficult
Oh,
to
man.
sit with someone and go, I think you're spending a bit too much time, because then they're like, you're taking the only thing that makes me happy away. So
I'm a straight
this
up
beautiful balance.
work addict. I'm a straight
Right.
up work addict, and I think that's one of the
And-
probably the most common addictions in the world.
But what's lovely about hearing
You know?
Ben's relationship with gaming is that
Yeah.
it is his downtime, and it has a specific space in his world,
Yeah.
and he thoroughly enjoys it. But it's a contained.
But there's
downtime.
a simple answer to
Yeah,
your
go for
question,
it.
and that is community. Your
Right.
community tells you when you're addicted to something. When Tim was doing too much exercise, his community helped him to remind him that, like, bro, you can't just be running and cycling and swimming all the time. Like, it's
Your body needs to rest.
you know, like,
yeah.
and
And we
Tim's
need-
really smart enough to like feel that, but it's also because the impact of what that was doing to his life and to his body was also like a lot more obvious. You know, like a kid who's addicted to computer games doesn't realize that they're wrecking their eyes, that they're like, you know, that they're not connecting with the rest of the community. And again, like, love it. Going to come back to Tim's point. It's about balance. And so if you're not having that balance in your life, but what I'm trying to tell people is like, don't feel bad that you played these things.
Do your thing,
like,
is what we're saying.
Like, it's not wrong.
In moderation.
It's wrong to be out of balance.
That's it.
And you will feel that eventually because your eyes will start hurting.
If you're being honest with yourself.
Your friends. And if you're being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And if your friends are being honest with you and your family's
they'll
being
let
honest
you know.
with you, you know. So
one of the key lessons, takeaways this early already in the episode is only keep people who are willing to be honest with you around. If you're struggling to be honest with yourself, but the most important way to manage a lot of the things you indulge in, healthy and otherwise, is to really have an honest relationship with yourself. Know when that wonderful class is one too many. Know when 1 hour gaming is too much. Know when the workload is taking too much. Know, because what we tend to also really warn people as doctors is your body can actually handle a lot more CRAP before it falls apart. And what often happens is a lot of people keep these habits going because nothing is physically happening to them yet that is negative.
And also because they're habit forming and addictive.
100%.
You know?
But the body's resilience can sometimes carry on those bad habits because it takes a lot for your body to finally fall apart.
Yeah.
One of the biggest reasons that we bring wellness conversations, especially with the younger generation early, is because that self-awareness allows them to check themselves. So they don't have to run their bodies to the ground before they stop something that has been harming them for a long, long time.
Yeah. I just quickly, I know that we're kind of...
Go ahead.
because of the all-encompassing nature of what you said earlier on, and
Yes.
it all keeps coming back to this honesty thing, right?
Yeah.
And my question to you, and I guess to everyone, is how you deal with that honesty when it attacks that part of yourself that you have formed, right? Like, this is who I am, this is what I believe, this is what I know. But deep down inside, you know that it's kind of, I'm trying to articulate this correctly, but when it attacks a crucial part of your being that requires essentially for you, in order to get to the next level of your life, or your the iteration of self, requires that part to die. And you need to allow it to be. For instance, it could be, let's say, in the example that you gave, but maybe that's one too many glasses.
Yeah.
And you go like, but who are you to tell me that? Meanwhile, you know. But who are you to tell me that?
So funny.
Right?
No, you know what? I was formulating the same question in my mind.
Okay.
Like, before you said that, and then as you were saying it, it was like helping me to like kind of formulate. And I actually want to say it to Tim, because I think there's an interesting, for me, you have a great capacity of being consciously aware. And consciously, I mean like now. I'm aware now. Not retrospectively, consciously now.
Yeah.
Of like, of striving to achieve that balance. And I want to put it to you on this point, because I think it plays to what your question is of like giving up on something. So Tim is an incredibly competitive person. He is.
We don't mind that, by the way.
He's very talented in sports.
Right.
And last year or the year before, when you did your triathlon, you know, he went and did an Ironman, okay? And
Listen,
he worked really hard to do the Ironman, and then after doing the Ironman, he's like, you had like an epiphany or an understanding that came about where you were like, this isn't serving me in a balanced way in my life. What I'm having to sacrifice to go and do this thing, even though I was like competitively angling to go do it, and I was striving to go do it, and I wanted to go do it.
Right.
And look, you know, it was like, because he could have pushed on and then gone like, well, now I'm going to do a full Ironman, and I'm going to have to train twice as hard as what I'm doing now. And also, you got to understand, like, he's successful at it.
Yeah.
So like, he doesn't just go do an Ironman and like
Come
survive.
last. Or
He goes and does an
You're there to
Ironman and
crush it.
thrives.
Yeah.
So like, he's competing against people who have made this more of a career. So how did you like come to that decision of pulling back from it so that it didn't take over your life?
Yeah, it's such a tricky one, because I don't want to go like, it's a feeling, but I think it comes down to, actually, we were chatting about before, like purpose. And then also, on Kat's point, like bravery, I think, of actually going like, I'm okay to lose this thing, and I don't know that I'm going to benefit more in like what I'm sacrificing it for. But that's why I say, like, I get a feeling of like, look, I know on the outside maybe doesn't make sense because maybe it's fun and you're good at it or whatever, but like I know that's not maybe my path, that's someone else's path, and I'm also brave enough to maybe take that risk of like, this, I might look back and regret this, but like I've got a feeling that like this is my path, and I can't tick my boxes here if I'm waking up at 4 to go train and I'm only going to bed at 1 because I'm doing a gig. Like ultimately my thing is I'm a musician, and that's what I want to be, that's what I've dreamt about. And unless it's a bigger thing where I'm going like, I don't know if I want to be a musician anymore, and it's not, then that's why it makes it easy for me to go like, I've got to focus on the main thing. And then there's a balance going like, because I actually swung hard because I don't have the balance all the time, and it was like, wait, now I've gone from that to like no training, and now I'm not happy either. So it's like, cool, now I do boxing once a week, try run when I can. Does that answer the question though?
Yeah,
keep asking the question.
Yeah, I don't feel like
and I don't think it's.
I don't think we fully understand it.
Landed properly yet.
I think you've just touched on it a little bit, right? Where you know that part of you that you need to sacrifice right now, like the inner voice is telling you that needs to die, but because maybe you're hearing it from someone else, you fight against it. You can't let it go, because the letting go of it, not knowing whether you'll benefit on the other side of it, is way too scary from a human experience. What am I without it? And I think the bigger question was, how do you come to the acceptance of honesty in its
you know what he did.
nature?
You know what he did. He had conviction of a goal and a vision that he has that was playing against it, and so he leant back into that other conviction. And like when I was listening to you say that, I was like, oh, but what if you have like someone who doesn't necessarily have such a strong conviction about like, I want to be a musician, so I'm going to give up and let my dreams of becoming an Ironman like winner die. Because then I can just channel all of that back into the other conviction, and that's an easy way. Sorry.
I think it's two things. I think it's listening to your gut feeling. Because it's like a lot of us don't have a very good relationship with our gut feelings,
with our intuition.
We just ignore it, or we just don't know how to connect with it, and a lot of that comes from things like silence and practicing like time out and trying to clear your mind and stuff, which is difficult. But I think the number one thing is discipline, because you can make a decision like, this isn't serving me, or this, you can make a decision, but then it's like getting out of the habits and actually, making the right changes is not, it's about discipline. Like it's so easy to fall back into what you were doing before.
But I think Kat's talking about before the discipline strikes, which is in the moment of like, of the honesty
when
you're negotiating that change.
Yes, because you haven't even like made the plan to start being disciplined. It's before that. It's like, how do you let it die?
That's and facing up to it. And I guess it is for me personally, it is such a big question, and it's so all encompassing that perhaps it's better.
And scary.
And scary. I was
about to say, perhaps that's the actual aspect of it, because what I wanted to say is we don't learn to trust ourselves in the easy moments. We learn to trust ourselves in the uncomfortable ones. And nothing is more uncomfortable than a voice that's trying to tell you it's time to change something. It's time to shift something, because it's going to be for your greater good. We always wait for those quiet, meaningful voices to be telling us nice little things. But when that little quiet, equally honest voice is like, Kat, you're doing too much, calm down, slow down. You're like, hey, I have a lot to do. Wait. And then I always say quiet voices have a way of manifesting themselves in different other ways.
Ben has this thing he always says to us. He goes like, the universe or God or whatever will whisper, and then he'll talk to you, and then he'll shout at you. And the shouting could be the inheritance of a dread disease. The shouting could be getting cancer or getting a blood virus, or like the shouting could be something very hectic that will be put in your path. And then you have no choice but to deal with it. But if you look back, you've been whispered at, spoken at, and then...
I was thinking about something while you guys were saying this, because I resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this down. I said, the winds of doubt are always swirling around us. This is the thing that we all face. Because what we're talking about right now is you're going like, it's so easy to like hear your inner voice. It's like, what absolute nonsense. The winds of doubt are always
And they're often
blowing around us. And you go like, was that God? Is that God? Is he telling me I'm doing the wrong thing? Or is that just
There's
my
so
ego
many
going like,
there's so many
this is a bit
possibilities.
difficult, so
Yeah.
maybe that's what I'm saying. So like, I want to ask you again, how was it clear? How was it clear?
What made you trust?
I don't think I had I don't think it was. I don't think I had a clear moment. Like I think it wasn't a clear moment of like this is now changing. It was like, okay, wait, this is not going to work.
Okay.
In that capacity.
Yeah,
Because
I think
Tim,
it's.
I want you guys to understand, like Tim could have made a decision to go like, you know what, actually I want to stop music and I'm going to go
And I
be a
wanna go do
professional
that.
athlete.
I don't know if I was that good.
But
Disclaimer.
But like your ego could have made you feel like you were that good.
Yeah,
and this is the
maybe.
thing, like it's what I reflect about you, Kurt, is that you're so talented. There's so many things that you're good
That you
at
can do.
that you also become clouded of like, what is my true purpose? What is my true vision of what I'm meant to do? And there's so many people out there who on the other side of that feel like they aren't good at anything. And that's equally blurry.
Yeah.
So whether you've got a lot of things, and for the people out there who like are maybe good at one thing, like it kind of feels like life is a bit easier because you just go like, this is what I'm good at, and so that's what I'm going to do. And can I tell you that that's not necessarily what
True.
your purpose in life is.
Right.
It's not just to like chase down what you're good at.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, this is, you know, like you might have, there are a lot of doctors out there actually who are like,
Correct.
oh, I really loved the idea of like doing medicine.
Right.
And I was good at school. So I went and did medicine. I actually don't like medicine. And now I'm a doctor and I'm
got
like
you.
kind of stuck here. And then that's why you have bad doctors.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I want to say, and one of the things that's very hard to give people clarity on is this conversation of I knew it in my soul. Like when I answer your question, I knew it that young. I knew what I wanted to do because I felt when I pursued it, I felt it in my soul. And that's one of the reasons a lot of my colleagues will always be like, you're just different with this medicine thing. And I'm like, I've stayed in love with my career because it's felt almost like something beyond that piece of paper. But you also have to nurture that understanding of your intuition.
But listening, chatting to you, you're a different kind of doctor, I think. You know, you've grown your scope of what
Sure.
was taught you in med school.
Sure.
You know, I think it sounds like you're much more holistic and like you understand.
I was intentional with that because what it meant for me was understanding what the purpose is in the job that I do.
Yeah.
So if the purpose is to heal,
then how can we
I've
heal?
got to
Yeah.
show up as a doctor understanding what healing means. It doesn't always mean curing.
Yes, or treating a symptom.
And that takes that honesty that you were saying, because I've been in debates with my colleagues about what medicine really is, and we have very healthy debates about what's right, what's wrong, and we know how confused the world has become because we're fighting behind closed doors.
Sure.
The world keeps changing so much. As a scientist, we have to keep up with so much too.
And there's a whole industry behind
Correct.
your industry,
Yep.
which is the pharmaceutical industry, which is based
That's
on...
another conversation
Which is
for
based
another.
on
I love you
profits.
guys.
and they are
But so-
and they're driving a massive agenda for you as
We know
health
this.
practitioners to push their product. And like I loved what you just said. Now it's like being a doctor is not necessarily about curing someone.
No.
But like pharmaceutical companies, their entire agenda is like, we're going to give you a cure and you've got to pay us your money for it.
And that's
like,
part of the reason, Ben, we've had to, as even practitioners in our field, we've had to decode the world of medicine so often to our patients, because when we as a fraternity are having these discussions about what is the ethical way, what is the unethical way of anything, we know that there's an entire society that gets affected by the decisions we take. And part of the reason I think why wellness has grown so much in the last 15 years, it was a necessary evolution in how people see healing. Because one of the biggest things for us that became really important early as scientists is recognizing that most human beings outsource their care to people like us. So people don't actually connect with the idea of what health means to them.
And how they're gonna. I mean, we are our own most powerful.
Right,
healers.
and so I always say, you are the CEO of your own health.
Yes.
What we do is facilitate the journey.
Yeah.
You've got to check in though. My clients know me. You can't be a Dr. G client if you're not willing to be engaged
work,
with your own health. You've got to know your numbers. You've got to know what they
amazing.
mean.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's a responsibility that I have to bring to the conversation of staying on top of what's happening in my industry, knowing what
absolutely.
I'm recommending as safe and unsafe. I can't also check out and go, I'm a doctor, everyone must listen to me, I know what's happening. Because I know that some of my patients, that's what they're experiencing when they're sitting in consulting rooms.
Well, and also they might have researched things far
Correct.
more depth because it's affecting them than you have recently, you know.
And I love my Dr. Google patients. They know that. I rather have you Googling than not. Because at least I know if
it'll
you're Googling,
challenge you and like, yeah.
And I love proving myself right.
Yes.
Don't you worry. I'm that nerd.
No, but I
comes in
mean,
and I'm
it's just a little
Yeah, go
sidebar on
ahead.
that. I mean, you know, our experience of like chronic diseases.
Sure.
You know, Ben's mum had suffered from. She ended up having stage 4 inoperable breast cancer, but she knew
Sorry
for
about that.
herself. She knew for
It's okay.
herself that
What she wanted.
She knew that she wouldn't survive chemotherapy and radiation. She knew her body was not physically strong enough for it.
Got
She
it.
understood what it was going to take from her.
Got it.
And so she ended up doing Chinese medicine, vitamin C drips, and CBD.
Got it.
And she shrunk that thing from stage 4 inoperable down to the size of a pea, and then they just nicked it out, and
Oh
she
my
survived.
And look at that.
And that was her methodology, but she
Look at that.
she had enough connection with her own body that she knew chemo and but some other people chemo could be brilliant
They
for.
don't.
They know they're strong
Correct.
enough and they know they can handle it and they want to fight it with a flippin' sword and
Correct.
a machete and they want to go.
I just want to
You
say
know?
this, guys. Like, we had 9 points
Yeah.
that we were asked to, well, there's 3 each. Okay? There wasn't a single point
Yeah.
when we were asked about like what we do to improve our health from any of us
Sure.
that had anything to do with medicine.
There we
That's
go.
true, yeah.
Isn't
There
that
were
what's interesting
not one
about
of us
wellness?
said, "Oh, I take this."
I drink
supplement."
chlorella and
Right.
Or,
spirulina.
I take this pill.
Right. I think you've just cracked the code of what kind of doctor I am.
Yeah.
So what most clients will always tell you about me is, in my rooms, medicine, medication, last resort. I teach.
Amazing.
Look, and don't
I
get me
teach
wrong.
my
there
human-
You're
are-
my new doctor.
there
No,
are some
healing is all
wonderfully
inclusive. No, no, no.
important pills out
Yeah.
That's
there.
not
Yeah.
dismissive
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what oral and all kinds of therapy does. What I insist on my patients understanding first is how the body works. Because what we often do is we run, remember what I said, outsourcing? They run, you guys, most people, sorry, not you guys, run to us at the end of the ladder when you've tried everything else and now wanting a magic pill to fix it. Most people know when things are going wrong way sooner than they come and actually seek doctors. So there's also this very unbalanced relationship people have with us where we are the last resort. And then they expect that there is a pill to fix it. And what people are recognizing, is in our field even, we're not magicians.
Yeah.
No.
What is the best way to fix your body, to heal your body, is to know the signs earlier, present as early as possible when we can facilitate healing. And healing includes all kinds of modalities. What people
Sometimes it's just a walk in
think
the
is
mountains.
right.
Yeah.
So people have these interesting misconceptions like pills fix everything. That's the thing I decode. Not because I don't believe that pills can fix a lot of things. They do. But there is a role for each phase of healing. And what most people don't engage in is understanding what that entails. So humans don't realize the capacity of their own bodies to heal.
And I think a lot of it is because we're not connected to our
I know.
bodies.
It's
you
the
know?
honesty, the connectedness, the
You
self-awareness.
know, we're not
The balance,
We're not
yeah.
like in our bodies. We're like,
Listen, and what we're leaving with them today
Yeah.
is such an important discussion, because one of the best reasons that I keep doing this work, this outside of my consulting room work, is because it teaches a wider group quicker on this is the real work of wellness. You know, I always make this joke. I say, imagine a world where you woke up and there were no doctors. What would you do then? And that's such and this is the work that you do
Yeah.
when that happens.
You know,
happens,
before the
yeah.
show, you and I were talking about programs that we were watching on TV, and I was talking about how I watched this one called Alone. That's
Oh
on
my
Netflix.
word, I'm still terrified.
And you know what's like? I loved what
Yeah.
you just said, because
Yeah.
now basically the premise of the show is you get dropped off in the middle of the wilderness for as many days as you can survive on your own with some tools. So you have to hunt and feed and fend for yourself and shelter yourself. And the thing that knocks people out of the competition is not starvation, it's injuries. And it's the things that they hadn't prepped for. It's the guy who trips and twists his ankle, or the girl who
I just wanna keep
who didn't
demonstrating.
she didn't poop for like 3 weeks, And so
Probably because she wasn't eating for 3 weeks.
no, she was eating a little bit, but she
Okay.
actually she ended up having to be like evacuated because I mean I don't know what the medical term is.
Both literally
but, like,
and physically.
But these
Yeah,
the reason
there is
the
a medical
failure
term.
rate that we have is when we don't have our community around us
Yeah.
to look after us, and that's you know, like when we were talking about addiction. The best thing that you have for addiction is for a friend or a family member to point it out to you. Go like,
There we go.
dude, you're playing too many computer games. You're drinking too many glasses of wine. You're spending too much time like
Right.
exercising and not enough time with your friends or doing some of the other things. So that essence of balance is intrinsically linked with the people who are around you who can help you to see it, because otherwise you just get caught in your silly little addiction. you know?
Absolutely. But I would like to say, on a lighter note, as a guardian of the wellness galaxy, I will be testing, since you've raised the show, I will be testing just how connected you might be to a few wellness concepts.
Oh my
let's,
goodness.
Let's see how connected
Are we getting-
Goodluck is.
okay.
There is a Q&A plugger that's coming
Is
where I'll
this the
be...
surprise that we were?
Listen, there's a few. One of
Okay.
them is that.
Okay.
I want to go back a little bit to the music. You've collaborated with some incredible artists on your journey. What have been some of your favorite collabs as Goodluck?
It's interesting you mentioned Black Motion
I was just thinking the same one.
because we had an incredible experience with those two wonderful musicians, and it was facilitated through Coke Studio. So for us, it was like we were like put with another band. We didn't really know too much about them.
Okay.
We got into studio, and I think this was just the magic of music because at the
It was kind of
time
the beginning of their like.
it was the very
trajectory.
beginning of their career, and they weren't known at all. And at the time, they weren't even that proficient in English. So we were coming in not really speaking the same first languages.
Okay. That's so interesting.
They were like, make a song,
Okay.
and to the point we even wrote half of it in Sesotho. I like,
Wasn't it like I saw that episode?
probably it was
Yeah.
it was so
Oh, it's
crazy.
just magic, man.
Because
Right.
even though we couldn't speak the same first language, we could both understand the musical construct of of how things work and the programs and the sounds and the feelings and
And the vision of
somehow-
what we had like the first day. I remember the first day. It was like, okay, like what do we want to do? Like you're thrown into a room with like two other people, like
With strangers, essentially, yeah.
and language was a big factor of it.
Okay.
Hey? Like it really was. It wasn't like you
It's a
could
very
sit there and
good
be
South
like, you
African
could
point,
be like,
by the way.
okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
like convey what my vision is
Right.
of what I'd like to do here. You couldn't even do that. So it was, we really had to, I'll never forget, we started with this shaker pattern. Like Murder had this shaker pattern that he was really excited about. And I was like, okay, let's begin with that. And I think that's like so much of what collaboration is about is just finding a tiny little beginning. It doesn't
Common
have to be a
ground.
big beginning.
Yeah.
It can be a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And from that, it will grow, and it's the excitement
process,
of like, of how the collusion of like both of your spirits kind of working over something that's even little.
Yeah.
You're like, oh
And
wow,
what was
we can do more.
What was also
you
really
know?
nice about that is we had 3 days. We had a time limit.
Okay, yeah.
That is
so
a- that is
something-
good factor,
I think
Jules.
something that we are
Okay.
terrible at, and it's definitely still a work in progress as a band.
What,
is that we
doing well
we-
under pressure?
No, we nitpick things to the point where they start going backwards. We're very we're very perfectionistic. I'm going to lay this mostly at Ben's door. He's a producer, and he's an incredible
recovering
producer.
perfectionist.
He's an incredible producer, and
Recovering.
but I think he's put so much pressure on himself.
Sure.
To the beginning of from the beginning of Goodluck, people don't realize this. We started off.
Yeah.
Ben booked a gig before we even had a song. And
That's
2 weeks
amazing.
away, and we took all of our
Incredible.
So
acoustic
we're pretty good under
Afro-pop
pressure.
music, and we made it electronic, and we had to go
I'm
play it in a nightclub,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a fail. But from that point on, our first album, from that point on, Ben's put so much pressure on himself, and I think it's evident. The first album, no one knew we were a South African band. They
got
thought they
you.
were all different artists because we had different singers. They didn't know it was one
Wow.
artist. They did not know we were from South Africa.
Okay.
And he went within a year.
Wow.
From a space of like not knowing how to make electronic music to figuring it out to making such a high standard of electronic music that it wasn't even sounding, it sounded like it was coming from the States or from places where they were,
Way
more
to
ahead
set
of the game.
bar, Ben.
Right.
But I think he's put that pressure on himself to be that thing.
To keep
and
it
to
there.
keep evolving.
Yes.
And now,
Yeah.
the standard of South African music in its entirety is lifted. It's all sounding as good as anywhere in the world.
Right.
And I think he's putting that perfectionistic thing in. And for Tim and I think, like, sometimes the fun, the joy is squeezed out in the last 10%, you know?
And that's like almost my addiction then.
Yeah,
Jules.
it's just making it perfect. And I understand, because he wants that for us. And that pressure is healthy sometimes, but you've got to know when you just got to let the baby out into the world and like let it go. You know what I mean?
And I can attest to that. I remember having the privilege of hearing Bird of Paradise before it was released in the studio.
Was it before?
Yeah. I remember in the studio. I'm like, it's such fire. You know, like head blown away.
Right.
And then like the music only came out like months later. But I mean, to your credit.
Maybe it wasn't as impactful as you heard in the moment. Because the thing is, I do think as a musician, you know, you don't know when it's good enough really ever. You've just got to, like, it's the hardest thing actually.
That's a good confession to make, because that is sometimes one of the reasons that when artists release music, that maybe they were doubtful will be well received, and then it blows up into a hit. But then the reverse as well, something you might have been extremely confident in, and then publicly you feel like it flopped.
You've tweaked and you've gone, and you know what, and you not only that, you're so exhausted by the time that you've released it. You don't actually want to know about it. Bird of Paradise is such a good example.
We should have released it when we played a few, because we were so excited about it.
I was so
He was
done.
a good yardstick, right?
I was so done with that song by the time we released it. And the artwork was so amazing, and
it's a beautiful
music
cover.
video was so great.
Yeah,
and we literally put it out, and I was like, we did nothing to promote it, because we were just like, okay, it's out, thank goodness.
Because look, there is a reality that we are now faced with in our industry that has changed very dramatically in the last 10 years.
What has changed?
Because of the proliferation of content, whether it's video or music.
Yep.
You have to very actively serve your art to your audience, because there's just
they won't see it.
They just won't see it. It's so noisy out there.
And also we were squashed. You know, like, you know, I think it's sad, but I think that Instagram and Facebook have taken active decisions to squash anything that could be deemed as like a brand, say. And I think that artists and musicians have been put into that category.
Interesting.
You know, and
so
we're not
get served in the algorithm
like
to new ears
like a normal
by the
person.
very platform that it purports to like
okay, so I wasn't imagining it.
When last did you ever see like a new band that you'd never heard of
on those platforms?
It's the reason why there's so many artists struggling
to break through,
to crack it financially, right? No, we can call it straight for what it is. And I think one of the places I want to go to with that is, as a band, you've seen all kinds of artist experiences. What has kept you believing that this journey is still worth it? Because the industry has changed. Let's have this. Yes. Let's have this part of the discussion, right?
I think
you've got the TikToking. You've got the listen. We will be twerking with Goodluck later, so don't worry. I've got that on board. But that's just pure for entertainment. But there is this machine that seems to no longer be connecting with artistry.
Yeah.
So how are you guys still going? We're still gonna be here.
Look, I think it's two things for me. I think the one thing is like the live experiences, because we get to see people in real life having fun. My worst thing is when I see everyone like filming on their phones. Like I honestly don't like it.
I'm sure you don't like it. I don't like it either, by the way.
I don't like it because I'm just sad for them. I'm not it's not about me. I don't mind being filmed. It's just like, I'm sad for you. I'm like, you're not gonna ever watch that video again. I know you're not.
True.
You just filmed it because you felt you needed to. Or tell someone that you were there.
Missing out on the experience.
You actually missing out. The experience is just happening without you being a part of it, and like I'm sad for you about that. But anyway, that's one thing.
Okay.
The second thing, I think for me that keeps me going, besides seeing people's joyful faces having fun, is the hope that it's going to come around again to real connection. That it's not just the TikTok kings and the this and the people that have been, kind of manufactured. And I don't even want to discredit those people, because there's some people that are ingenious about the way that they actually find a little hook, and they can hook in someone with whatever they're doing.
Maybe that's just what they needed.
That's what they needed, and exactly. And they're actually very talented. And I'm not trying to take that away from it.
Sure.
But like, I think that I have the faith that there is an evolution happening in the world and people. I have the faith that there's this conscious awakening that seems to be happening around the world. Okay. More and more and more.
I'm on board.
And I feel it, and I think that people who are making honest music are going to have their time in the sun again. I think it's coming. So I think that's what drives me.
I really love that because there has to be something that keeps you going, right, Ben?
He's a bit more cynical.
You've been in the game long enough, and I know you're like Mr. Business Guy, but you're also incredibly spiritual. You've watched the game change. You've watched friends be in it. You've watched people win and lose in the music industry. What is keeping you invested in the journey of staying this incredibly committed artist that you guys are known to be? We're 12 years in. What's going to give you the oomph for the next 12 years?
It's simple for me. I have faith in Jules.
Oh, wow, okay.
Wow.
That's a lot of pressure.
That
You must
literally
understand,
took
like-
the wind out of me in a good way. In a really good way.
When I make songs, like the bits that I do, which are like, it's like the fluff that surrounds like the important part, and they're silly little bits. They very, very rarely are the bits that I do are the important parts.
Okay.
I don't agree, but
And
anyway.
so for me, it's like if I didn't have the magic that Jules brings to the song, it would be pointless. Like I would just put them back onto the shelf and leave them there.
Okay.
Every now and again, I'll make a song that like doesn't need Jules, but it's very rare.
Thanks, Benny.
Okay. And for the rest of the
wonderful?
time, I'm like, it's like creating canvases where she can then bring her idea fairies and the magic that she has with her voice in her songs into it, where I go, like, I was talking to Tim about this the other day. I was like, I like making the foundation, and I'm very privileged that I get to do it, but without that other bit that goes on top, it won't connect the way. And so my responsibility is to keep making those foundations so that she can put her ideas on top.
And I don't think it's all on
Talk about teamwork.
I don't think, but I don't think it's, that's very sweet of you to say, but I don't think it's, I think I'm also a seed in a way, because more recently been writing a little bit with Ben and Tim, and, you know, like bringing these things to the front and bringing ideas, but there's ways of phrasing and doing things that are, they're so much better when someone else goes like, like simple things. Like I remember the song we're writing at the moment, I had the chorus like, goodbye, my friend. And Tim came in, he's like, it's cool, but like, goodbye, my friend. Like, and that's just da, 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 and it's got more energy and more. And like, I was like, wow, I would never have thought of that.
Right.
If he hadn't come in objectively.
Well, that's the beauty of the collaboration of our teamwork,
so
you know.
I think that there's like ways of like
self-evident.
Yeah, it's definitely not just me, although I do have a lot of idea fairies visiting me. I have no idea why. I get a lot of little seeds planted in my head. I think I'm like a vessel. I think it just comes through.
But I love
Conduits
the
would be the
credit.
correct word.
I love the credit that Ben has given you, Jules,
That's very
because
kind, yeah.
the essence of a team is in what each of you see in each other. It's not just what each of you bring, it's what each of you see each other. So what I love is 12 years on, you can have your brother in music be able to tell you.
Yeah.
To say you are an inspiration for me to stay in this game.
Yeah.
And
I know
that's
very
a really,
clearly
really
where my
great
talents
ingredient.
lie, and my talents are limited. And that's okay. And Jules's talents
All of
are
ours are.
limited, and Tim's talents are limited, and like our, you know, what was that wonderful show we always used to watch as kids? Our powers combined.
Oh yes, Captain Planet. I knew you were going to say that. I love you so much right now. Oh my days. By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet. Captain Planet.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Tim's too young today.
Don't do this to us.
But I mean, even in our particular dynamic, at the Wellness Plug, it's one of the reasons I speak so highly of his particular influence on this particular platform, because everybody brings different talents. And yes, I've known how to spread the message of wellness my entire career, but taking on a task like a podcast meant I had to hone in some other skills, and he's inspired me to come out of my shell, because people still don't
You've done a great job, Kat.
right?
I mean,
because people
I
still
feel like
don't
you've been in
believe I'm an
TV.
introvert.
I feel like you've been in TV your whole life.
I know, right? I know.
Speak
Absolutely
amazingly
true.
already.
And that's one of the reasons I'm never away from being a cheerleader in his corner in anything that we do together, because it takes a lot, as we've said, to be these humans that come out and give and share and take the scrutiny from people who don't know us.
Sure.
But it is this teamwork of what we see in each other and what we bring out of each other, that sometimes can be the only fuel that you need to keep going in something that keeps changing 24/7.
Yeah.
Kat, is that something that you're aware of, that you actually have a great talent for bringing out the brilliance in others?
That's a good question, because sometimes I would like to say something at his big sister quickly. I think sometimes when he hears it, that's part of the reason I get the stop it, is, does it actually sit as it's the truth? It's not a compliment. Because I always say there's a difference between paying a compliment and speaking truth to someone on how they've influenced your life. And sometimes you can be comfortable with both.
This is a question that's so deep. I feel like it's hitting like the deepest parts of me, and that's why.
Did I do that?
I find it difficult to articulate. Right, in words.
And I understand
because I strive to. I realize, I think at a very young age, I realized that I'm in a very privileged position, like in so many respects of life. Life has just always worked out for me in ways that I couldn't explain and say, I contributed to this, I did this to get there, right? And so as a result of it, I've found a sense of responsibility. To be of value to the people around me, and however far that reaches out. And as I sit here and all of this was happening, the one thing that I had such great admiration for in what you were saying about each other is like, I wish we could take that feeling, that appreciation, that understanding of one another's lights that we each need to allow to shine, and bottle it, right? And then like, here, don't even sell it. Like everybody take a sip of this every day. Just take a little sip of this, microdose on this, and we're going to be great. If we all just do this, we're going to be great. So I appreciate that you guys would say that of me. And ultimately, I just hope to leave the world in a bit of a better place than I found it.
You're really doing that.
It's,
and we recharge each other. And I think that's one of the reasons I always say to you, I'll tease you forever about how great you are, because it's a recharging point for me. I've said it in several episodes, and it's a real thing. Because as someone who's also used to people always depending on them, I am that person in my family, with my friends. It's been one of the things I've loved about creating this baby called the Wellness Podcast is I've uncovered a family where I can lean on them. And it's felt like such a safe sanctuary for me. I don't have to always be Dr. G. First and foremost, to my entire team here, the Sives, the Shirazes, the Ebans, the Julians, I'm Tsiri. And I get to be a human being with this team before we work on a podcast. And that's such a great space for me, because when you are in certain industries as well, you're called on to be the hero. People look for you for the answers. People look for you for the guidance. And that's why I said, I'm the guardian of the wellness galaxy. And a lot of us are in these positions. I feel musicians, similar ways, artists, similar ways. There's a level of setting an example that we inherently take on, the responsibility. And in different areas, people are seeking us to help them feel better, be better, do better, etc. And it's so important to pour back into yourself.
Totally.
So structuring conversations this way has been such a great dynamic for me, because I've gotten to pour into myself. I don't always have to be the one that comes with the answers. I can just enjoy listening. And I didn't know how much I love listening to other people's thoughts on wellness, on medicine, on recharging, until I started opening the conversation beyond my peers. And that's been the beauty of this podcast, is it's this, when we all look back and watch this, is going to feel like an interview you haven't done before. And that's the purpose, is if we're not pouring into each other in beautiful and unique ways, it also stops being something worth investing in. So I've loved this conversation.
No, man, this is like the most real interview I think we've ever had. It's like gone beyond, like none of the usual questions.
We haven't even touched on it. Thank you for realizing that, because I realized that I left a little bit of my answer kind of unfinished, and it's in the acknowledgement. No, not please. It's in the acknowledgement of those people who pour into our cups. You've just done that right now, and there's moments when I'm like driving in my car, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't spoken to Danny Hester in a long time, and like call and say, hey, how are you doing? I just wanted to let you know that I really love you, and I miss you, and I really appreciate what you've done in my life. There's so many people, and you, Ben, are one of those people as well, and you, Jules, and in our many interactions, the backstage chats, and I'm like, I'm so much richer for just having had that 5 minutes with you just before you went on stage or just afterwards. We need to take time to acknowledge the people who pour into this cup in the community, and help us find balance and help us find those modes of honesty, which we hopefully keep on striving towards every single day. So.
But are you filling up your own cup? Like on
I
your
hope
own?
I am. Yeah, I hope
because
I am.
I've been listening to you today.
Yeah.
And I think that you feel like you're at a bit of a crossroads. And, the reflection of what you've done in the past, where you've been at the forefront and you've been the front-facing element of things. And here you're like today, you haven't been that. You've been more of a facilitator. You've been more of a sparring partner. And it's such an intriguing thing to see you in the role of, because actually it allows a power that's in you to kind of like shine
this
out.
Feels so purposeful, for me,
what you've created here, and carrying the experience that you've had from your journey, but also not putting yourself as the front thing. Is that maybe there's a role for you in the future where you are more of a producer than a presenter?
Perhaps, yeah.
And that's also like what you were, like it's like touching on like letting that thing die, that where you think like, this is the thing that I'm so good at and I've been so blessed with and I seem to be so perfect with, but it's not the thing necessarily that's bringing me joy.
But life is all about evolution, right?
It is.
You don't necessarily want to be stuck doing the same thing forever.
Yes.
Or maybe you do. Maybe that you've got enough. Maybe it's just what you want to do for the rest of your life.
And I'm certainly at that crossroads right now where where is next?
Yeah.
Where is next? There's been so many blessings. How do I take those blessings and pour them out?
And how do you make sure that like and I think it's also the understanding of like letting some of them die is okay.
Yeah.
Like you are blessed with things. You're incredibly good looking, you're incredibly eloquent, you're incredibly smart.
Say it,
Those
Ben.
three things like are going to be picked up by other people and they'll go like, cool, you need to go at the front.
Right.
Stand here, you need to be the one in front of the camera. And you go like, okay. And then you shine at it. And then inadvertently you go like, oh, this is the journey that I'm meant to be on. But it gets in the way of the other things that actually mean a lot to you as well. And so you kind of like, that's part of what happens is like, the things that you're good at are not necessarily the things that you are. They're just what you're good at. Like Tim.
Okay, we're getting pluggers.
I know you're still with us, and the one thing we didn't intend to happen, which has happened, it probably happened the first 5 minutes of this episode, is we met our new family. Goodluck. If you weren't already feeling like we are siblings, you're so behind. So I want to play a game with my new family.
Lekker.
Let's go. I love games.
And as we kind of close the wellness discussion of what the good life is. So part of the good life, as I said, is answering Dr. G's answers correctly. So good luck to all of you.
Correctly.
Okay.
This is a very important
This
game.
is why these are actually here.
Because at some point we all went through school, right? We went through that very interesting phase called school.
Wow.
So I'm about to, hopefully I'm not traumatizing you guys by taking you back. We're doing multiple choice. Okay, so I want to know who the wellness champion is of this episode. Okay,
This is a quiz of
so we're
sorts.
calling this Wellnessology Q&A.
Okay.
You will have an option between A, B, and C to every question that I ask you. And the one who gets the most right is the wellness champion. So you get bragging rights. Okay, closest thing we can get to Master Singer here is wellness.
Pluggers, you are
champion.
also, as you're watching this right now, pull out your
Right.
pen and paper and let's see
So
if you
I've
can-
gone to the ends of the earth to collect some of the most interesting questions I can ask the four of you. And I'm hoping that the Google in you will not let you down. Okay, so I'm going to start. You need to write the answer, 5 questions. So
A, B, or
all I
C.
need is A, B, or C.
Cool.
You will scream your answer. And then, you will express your answer. And then
Balance.
I will then let you know what the correct one is. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Wellnessology Q&A, let's go. How many different type of cells does a human body have? Different type of cells.
Type, okay.
Okay, let's see how well you know your own bodies. Yes, I did that.
Okay.
Is it A, 200 different types of cells? B, 50 different types of cells exist in the human body? Or C, 1,000 different types of cells exist in the human body? Okay, you have 10 seconds to answer, to write down your answer, and then I'm going to start this way for some questions, and then I'm going to come this way for some questions. So, Ben, what's your guess? How many different types
I
of
just
sounds?
went for the 1,000 because I love the idea.
So Ben's giving me C.
I'm giving you C.
Are you sure
yes.
you're picking box C?
Yeah, it's between A and C for me. So.
All right, Ben. Mr. Deal or No Deal, how are you dealing with this
Oh my
question?
gosh. When you said the first 200, I was like, no, that's way too many. You said 50, I'm like, plausible. And when you said 1,000, I'm like, no way. B. It's got to be B.
He's picking B. Okay, lock it in, Jules.
B as well for me, please.
Jules is locking it in on B.
I win A.
You and A. Tim is our winner.
Oh my
I love how the crew is playing the game with you guys. I'm seeing Lerato, our sound engineer.
word.
Got that. All right, are we warm? This was the easy question.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, right.
200, okay.
How often should you get your eyes examined if you're younger than 40? Pretty much, I got that on lock here.
Okay, cool.
And you wear glasses. Of course, I had to throw in, a little moment. So you wear glasses, but you're younger than 40. How often, according to your Wellnessology, right, should you go and get your eyes checked? Is it A, every 2 years? Is it B, my apology, every 5 to 10 years? Or is it C, you should check your eyes every year if you're wearing goggles like me? Right. Commit, Tim.
C.
Okay, you're saying every year.
C.
You are blind, go every year.
C.
Jules, C.
I tend to think that your lenses will last longer than a year, so I go A.
Okay, so you committing to A. Thank you, Kat. And Ben, your answer, A. And the right side has it. It is A.
Naught out of 10 for
So
me.
if you weren't listening to your optometrist, it's every 2 years, guys, if you wear spectacles. Okay, this is looking really nice.
I should know the answer. I was blind for my entire childhood, but I mean, it's fine. I went once a year.
So, okay, Jules, you can still take one home. All right, this one, all of you should get it.
This is so much fun,
Which
by the way.
country, right? Great new segment, loving this. Which country has the longest life expectancy to date?
Oh.
I know you all Google this.
To date.
To date, and I will side eye you if you get it
Okay.
wrong.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Is it coming in at A, Japan? Coming in at B, Italy? Or coming in at C, Monaco?
Yo.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Those who went to school, eh?
Mine is.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we're moving which direction? Okay, we're back to Ben.
Wait. I had to just change now. I'm so sorry.
Plot twist.
Right? Okay.
Longest life expectancy.
In which country do people live the longest on average?
Okay.
If I
Okay,
can
now I'm sticking with
rephrase
my
the
answer.
question.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
I said
Commit.
A, Japan.
So you're saying the Japanese have got this one, hands down. Okay. Ben is going with A.
I was gonna change to Japan, but then I went B because of their diet.
So Italy, you think the Italians have
I
got
think
this on
Italians
lock?
live longer. The nonnas who cook the pasta, fettuccine, you know what I'm saying? I say B.
Listen, and we have an international touring team here.
I'm
so
also going to go there.
you're
Japan.
going with A. Japan's got it for the
I'm
win.
going B as well.
Okay.
Italy.
This time we have no winners because
Monaco.
surprise,
Maybe that would be-
surprise, it's Monaco. Their life
Monaco.
expectancy, Monaco is 87.
But guys, you know
Come on,
why?
man,
Because
there's
there's
Japan
only
is the
five
smallest
people who
second.
because
actually
there's
live
like
there
10 people who live in, you know, they all
It's the
eat.
prince and
They all eat Mediterranean diet.
It's the prince and his subjects.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, team. I know. It's
I know.
always
Charlene's giving them a good
people.
run
Naught
for their
out
money.
of 3 for Jules.
I didn't want to
Jules, don't worry. There's a comeback game where I know you're gonna get it right. Okay, right. This is gonna be
Is
an
Japan
interesting one.
second, though?
Japan is second.
Yes, because I watched that
I'm so
program where
sorry.
they spoke about
Coming
the
in at
blue-
85.
The blue
Japan.
zone.
Yeah,
Japan. Okay. Which of these has the highest vitamin C per cup? See?
per cup.
Natural,
think I know
not
this
supplements
one.
per
I know this
cup.
one too.
Oh.
Natural cup
Look,
size.
listen to the confidence pluggers.
Let's go.
Hashtag it's not orange.
My Zulu voice is coming. I'm so excited. Okay. Is it a kiwi? Is it B, guava? Is it C, our famous orange?
Oh, and I didn't know. I thought you
Comment.
were going to ask him for broccoli.
Yeah, I
Comment.
was just going to say
Yeah.
broccoli.
You see,
C.
sometimes you get surprised
A.
at what you
A is
thought.
kiwi,
Right,
B
so
is
I'll
guava,
repeat.
C
A
is
is
orange.
I'm
kiwi,
going for A.
B is guava, C is orange. Orange.
Ooh.
Tim,
I'm
you have to
going C.
commit. Okay, Tim is saying the orange has got the highest vitamin C.
I'm tempted
per
to
cup.
go for guava, but I'm going to go for kiwi A.
You sure about that, Jules?
No, B.
A neutral question. I'm just saying because you're saying you're not sure if it's one or the other.
Okay, I'll go for
It's
B.
my job. I promote
I'll go
you.
for my gut instinct.
I
is
did
guava.
not realize we're on Who Wants to Be a
What?
Millionaire.
What does your gut say, Jules?
Guava.
Okay, B. Jules is committing to B. Cat.
I'm going for A, kiwi, because you did
Okay.
say per cup. And you'd have to squeeze
I love
more
how you-
juice out of a kiwi because it's denser and has
I
more
don't
fiber.
know. I like
to get
the
it
answer.
To fill a cup.
Okay,
than the
so
juice of
kiwi.
an orange or so kiwi.
Kiwi.
Yeah.
Cat is locking in kiwi. And Ben?
I'm also on kiwi.
Damn it. And for the first time, Jules takes it.
What you kind of cheated there.
No. I just wanted to make sure you didn't.
swung me.
You
around.
talked about trusting your gut, and I
Yes.
saw what you did
Yes.
there. All I was doing was being a good
Self-sabotage.
doctor and going,
Wait,
don't
question,
do this.
do kiwis even have vitamin C?
Yes, they do. So guavas has 419% of the daily value of vitamin C. One of the fruits we don't like to eat has got the highest. So next time you've got flu, chop up a guava. Okay.
Okay, which has got the least out of those three?
Okay, of the three,
Spoiler alert.
you'll be surprised.
Orange.
It's actually the orange. Okay, last one because you guys are doing so great. I just really love this, and it's not a very friendly question. So close your ears if you don't like number 2 questions. Okay. How often should you poop to be healthy and regular? Oh, this one's going to be fun because everybody always comes up with different answers. We should maybe have a wellnessology 30 questions. Right. Is it A, daily? Is it B, once a week? I love you tried to stifle that laugh. Ne? Or is it C, between 3 times a day or 3 times a week?
Between.
What?
Between is a variation. Is
I'm
a-
gonna, yeah, I'm sticking
right.
with this one.
Lock it in, Ben. Commit.
Yeah, sure.
A, B, C. How often should we go doing a number 2 to be healthy? What is a healthy definition of you and your most intimate activity?
I think it definitely has to be daily.
Okay, you're locking in A.
Yeah.
All right, Kat.
Yeah, with enough hydration and the fiber consumption, I'm inclined to believe that once a day of bowel movement is sufficient.
But he did it.
Tango.
He gave me the doctor. All right, you going A, Dr. Mabue. Dr. Jules.
I'm going with C because I think different body types and
Okay,
some
interesting.
people have very fast metabolisms and they need to go like more than once a day. And some people like maybe
You might be influencing your partner in crime. I like the team dynamic. Tim is like,
and I
changed
think
my
like
answer.
you can't prioritize people that are going once a day
You
because
can't prioritize.
that would be
That is the South African laugh.
that would be what do you call it?
Jules.
When you are
That would be-
stigmatizing them. So
Okay, so we mustn't discriminate about against fast metabolic.
3 times a week poopers.
Wow.
Not be-
Wow.
So Jules, just to get you guys back pluggers,
C.
because we're having so much fun, choosing C.
Yeah.
She's saying you can go between 3 times a day plugger or 3 times a week. You are still healthy.
Yeah.
Either way.
Right, Timothy, did she influence your answer?
I'm agreeing with Jules. I'm going C as well.
And the C's have it.
Hey, really?
Yes,
Timmy.
Wow.
regular healthy bowel movement is
That's
a
fecal matter.
variation. If
Two out of
there's one
5.
thing, people. So let's hear the scores. This has been a very exciting game.
I've
And
done
we've
very badly.
introduced it and launched it with good luck, and you have sailed
Jules,
through it.
well
2 and
done.
Tim got 2.
All right. To recover from it, I have.
Oh no.
A bonus question?
Yes.
Yes. I got 1 out of 5. I love bonus questions.
I can't with you guys. I had no idea when we started this game that it was
Okay.
going to end up being so much fun. Okay, bonus question for the tie break. Anyone tie here? Okay.
Yeah, me and Tim. They
But wait,
tried.
so is the bonus question worth 2?
1.5.
No,
One and a half.
Like a real deal or no deal?
Yeah. T's and C's fine print.
Do we double the points now? Or
Yeah, we can make it double or nothing.
Okay, let me go big and say it's worth 5 points.
No, that's fair. Because
How
think about it,
about
it's
that? Like 5 questions and doubling.
Okay.
Okay, so you automatically become the winner.
Sure.
Who wants to be the champion?
Winner takes all.
Okay. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be hilarious. I almost don't want to say the question.
Go.
Okay. 1. Sorry. I'm trying to keep
gonna be a
composure and I'm
bad
seeing all these
question.
anxious faces and I'm like, Dr. G, stay calm. Okay, guys, here's your question. How many cells comprise the human body? Is it? I know. I had to make it difficult for 5 points. Come on, Jules. I've got it. How many cells?
Was that not the
Human cells? No,
not types.
Cells.
Oh,
How
types
many
of cells.
actual
Now we're doing the number, the big number. You must
Okay,
bet
okay.
big here.
Oh, it can be
You
going
want
to
5 points?
trillions, yeah.
Right. Is it A? Oh, good luck, guys. 200 trillion. B? 37 trillion. Or C? 10 billion cells. Let's see if you know what constitutes your human beingness right now. Let's see. Now
So
what's a
what is
winner?
A? What is A?
A is 200 trillion cells.
Yeah, C.
B is 37 trillion cells.
Okay.
C is 10 billion cells. Right now, the thing that is making Jules to me in form of matter, how much of cellular component is in there? Right. I dare go back to the winning team and give...
Do you guys know the difference in time between a billion and a trillion?
I love how we're starting with the philosophical.
Yeah, and I say?
So,
Ben must commit.
a
Answer.
billion seconds is
Okay.
31 years. A trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So it's a very, very, very big difference. And if you do the difference between a million...
Don't let him
Yeah.
play.
So it's a
Right,
lot. It's a big
Ben.
number here.
A, B,
Trillion
What are you going to
cells.
say, though?
A, B, or C?
I remember hearing a thing that they said that there are more cells in
Can you
the
answer the
human
question?
there are more cells in the human body than there are stars in the universe.
Ooh.
You're changing again.
So
Okay, say.
I'm going to go with A.
Okay. Katleho.
I'm gonna go with B. That 37 gave me a little.
You reckon
Oh,
they've
yes.
counted them all, have you?
My cells all went hooray when you said 37 trillion.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna go with A as well.
Okay,
200.
All right. Kat is the winner.
Kat, you know what? Actually,
cells.
something the gut feeling inside it did say to me, it's a very specific number.
Yes. Yes.
I went A, B, A.
Themselves.
Damn it. Okay.
And Dr. Jules' lesson of today is trust
Your gut.
Your gut. But
Your
I hope,
second brain.
I hope you've had as much fun as we've had.
We had the
Like,
best time.
Thank
we
you.
will be doing this. We're not quite done yet.
Okay.
I am very, very particular with some of the lighter parts of the episode. So one of the things that people aren't so good at doing is marrying certain ideas that come around their health. So the last little piece of fun I wanted to have with you guys was you've been around the world, you travel, you obviously are eating and drinking things. So this is more of a foodie spin to it. There's no points to this. However, you need to choose what you will marry, what you will abandon, and what you will twerk for.
Twerk for.
That's right. Okay. Let's bring some wellness things that people twerk for. Twerk for means you are addicted to this thing. You will do whatever it
You will
takes
do
to have
the
and
most.
indulge in this
And
thing.
you must just come up with your own answers.
No, I'm going to give you the options. So marry, abandon, twerk. Let's
Yeah.
go. We'll do 2 rounds and then we'll close off the episode. All right. Between apples, a croissant, and a smoothie. Which one will you marry? Which one will you abandon? Which one will you twerk for? Right. Abandon means you don't like the food, just to put some context. Apples, croissants, and
All of those are
smoothie.
so good though.
Come on. That's the beauty of putting some wellness spins into these popular games. Lerato sweating there is like, yo, dude, I can't. Between an apple and a smoothie. Don't make me do this, Dr. G.
Okay.
Right, Tim, I'm ready for your answer.
I would marry a croissant, abandon an apple, and twerk for a smoothie. Peanut butter blast.
Oh, he even tells you the kind.
Okay.
Go ahead and give me the exact answer if you must. So you will twerk for a peanut butter smoothie. You want to get closer to Tim, that's what you buy him. Thanks, Tim. Jules.
I would marry an apple. I would abandon a smoothie. And I would twerk
Okay.
for a croissant.
Jules and I, the same person. You will twerk for a croissant, girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Smoothies are just like baby food, man.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I mean, I have
This
them.
is the fun of this game.
I do ingest them because they're good for you, but I don't really enjoy them, honestly.
Okay.
Hawaii must never sponsor me.
I would marry a smoothie.
Okay.
Because
okay. What's your fave?
they contain like peanut butter based banana vibe.
All right, okay.
I would abandon an apple because it's
man, Dr.
boring.
G so hurt an apple
And
a day.
I would definitely twerk for a croissant, and I'd do even more if that croissant had some chocolate in it, because the
Nutella.
only pain in my life that I want is pain au chocolat.
That is a microphone. You've got to follow it through. What are you marrying? What are you abandoning? What are you twerking for?
Listen, I'm not sure whether I'm working about, but I would marry an apple. I would abandon the smoothie, and apparently I'm twerking for a croissant. To be honest, I would probably only really kind of twitch. And only really
You don't have much to throw around there, right?
You can't twerk. I'm very sure that croissant will be grateful whatever you do. Okay, final one, guys, and this one is not so easy. Okay, let's see how we all are with our taste. Okay, marry, abandon, twerk for coffee, burger, watermelon.
Oh, easy.
Coffee. Oh, okay. I like how that was quick. Coffee, burger, watermelon. And you know it's summer right now, so the difference in taste is so amazing to see in this game. That's why I love it so much. Okay, Ben, this time I'm starting with you because you wrote that answer like in 2
marrying
seconds.
the coffee.
You are proudly in love with coffee. Coffee, and you are married
You don't even
already.
drink decaf.
I don't love caffeine, but I love coffee.
I got
the
you.
taste, the flavor, the smell, the ceremony of it.
Listen to that love letter to coffee.
Ceremony.
So why would you not
You know,
marry?
like there's a ceremony to coffee. This is like, it's what
Twerk
you do
doesn't
with
mean
someone.
necessarily you want
have
it for
coffee
life.
with them.
Oh, I see
There
what
is
you
like-
mean. I see what you mean.
on the line.
It's quite
I stopped
interesting.
drinking coffee for a while, and then I was like, I can't hang out with people.
Fair.
Okay, so
I'm
you will marry
100%
coffee.
abandoning the hell out of watermelon.
Yeah.
I love it when people shoot them actually and they explode. It's
Yeah.
what a great
So
gesture.
always watermelon lovers,
This
we
rubbish
apologize.
I don't mind when
Okay.
they put like a vodka in it. That's maybe kind of okay.
Okay.
You twerk for
And you
burger.
would twerk for a burger, Ben?
Again, as I said, it would be more of a twitch.
Okay, what burger gets you going?
Okay, can I name a brand? Cool. I'm naming
Yeah.
it because they're actually small and they deserve.
You're
all
the
shine.
brand. You are allowed to give them placement for free.
There's a place in Plumstead called
Okay.
Izzy Burger.
And Woodstock.
And
Yeah.
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, it is actually Woodstock.
Yeah.
Is it Woodstock?
There's both. There's two.
Is there not?
they're growing.
Oh, they're growing.
Okay,
Oh,
nice,
God, brilliant.
lovely.
Well done, them. And then they've got a what is
A,
it called?
a double chili long or
the
something.
Izzy
with
long,
chili.
I think.
Izzy
which
long
is
with
like-
chili,
it's
loaded
like-
with chili. Ben
and
loves
it's got
chili.
so much-
So.
oh, it's so good. It's a smash burger. And it's just incredible. It's incredible.
That sounds amazing.
It does. I'm going to you.
I'd probably marry a burger, choose it
Okay.
every day. It
Oh, my
provides
word.
enough sustenance, commitment.
One of the
I'd go
very
for
few
that.
burger lovers. Love it, Kat.
I strangely abandoned coffee. I feel like I've had. I just feel like I've had enough.
I'm
of it.
so jealous of you because I could never abandon.
Has your
thing is-
relationship with coffee, is it coming to an end?
It kind of is when I
Okay.
just consider that over a period of
I'm taking this.
a decade, I might have consumed more than 6 cups of coffee every single morning.
Man.
So that was a lot. My body's like,
Okay.
You know what they say? Too much of a good thing.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I would twerk for a
You
good
twerk for
watermelon.
watermelon?
Oh.
Like the watermelon.
I might
Oh,
wanna
I grew
see
up
that,
loving it
Fancy.
so much. And it was like a big treat for us growing up. Cold,
Okay.
crisp, juicy.
From the fridge, ne?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like the one with the seeds or the one that they've developed now without the seeds? Because spitting the seeds is like probably
He's
the
twerking
the
already
best
in his
part of it to me.
You know what I enjoy more? Having like a big bunch and just smashing it into my face. So I go with the one without the
Okay.
seeds, just so I could.
That you should put on
You
your
want
podcast.
Kat at the next event, create a drink from watermelon.
Next time you're gonna have a
You
watermelon, you can just.
used to do like a pranked or punked version. Love
Get into
that.
the
You would
multiverse.
twerk for watermelon. I'm learning so much about you guys in such a short time period. It is the best time of my life. Jules.
Okay, I'd marry coffee.
Okay,
'cause,
also a
same as
coffee
Ben. I'm
lover.
also a decaffer, but I really love coffee.
You and coffee are married.
Just the flavor. Yeah, I'm one of those rare breeds. I have never liked watermelon, and I'm the only one in my entire family
right?
that cannot even look at it. And weirdly, we'll happily do a watermelon sweet or something that is
I
like
quite like
flavored
the
like
watermelon
watermelon,
sweets.
or even if it's in a cocktail, perfect.
Okay.
but the texture.
Okay.
I
so
just-
it's
It's
the
a
actual
bit
texture.
flowery.
It's so flowery.
weird.
I
No, but
just-
you've had the bad stuff then.
I just do not.
I
So like
those are
that,
the
I
bad
think they're
ones.
eating
But
the
it's
right
not
one.
just that. It's also got like such an insipid flavor. It's like it doesn't know
a
what
bit
it wants
meh.
to be. It's just meh. I don't like it. Okay. And then
Don't be offended when I watermelon. Don't be offended.
Apologies to watermelons around the world.
yeah, I know a lot of like
And
most
to all
of
the
the most
farmers
of
who
the
work really hard to grow
entire,
them.
but most of the entire world would disagree. So I know I'm alone on
but
this.
you would
And
twerk for a
for a
burger.
burger, because-
okay, what's your
yeah,
burger?
because I love-
What's your favorite?
What's my favorite? It's weird because I'm not in any capacity a vegan, but the best burger I ever had was in Berlin, and it was a vegan burger.
Wow.
And it was probably because it was the entire burger was deep fried in spinach tempura. But
What
like,
on earth?
I know.
Not really a burger then.
Right?
No, it's not a burger.
I'm ruling this burger out of the burger category. Make it into its own
Wait,
fish
okay,
group.
that burger, and also Ben actually makes insane smash burgers. Really, we call them
Ben.
Benny smash burgers, and he
Benny's
makes them
burgers.
regularly in the studio.
I'm starting to feel like a
Us.
sleepover is coming soon,
Benny's
and you guys
burgers.
come back from
Benny's
Europe.
smash
I'm
burgers,
coming
yeah.
for Benny's
Yeah.
Benny's
I'll bring
burgers.
the watermelon.
Tim is going to help me train running. Jules is going to. One of the things I'm going to be doing is asking Jules to put down her phone and stop working. So it's a sleepover. made from
Thank you.
him.
I need that, doc.
And instead, we're going to do like an acoustic vibe with Kat.
Yeah.
It's working. This sleepover is made.
Hey.
Done.
All right, Tim, you are the last one. Commit, marry, abandon, twerk for.
Marry coffee, abandon watermelon, twerk for burger. Right down to the easy burger.
Give you the
trio.
good luck experience.
Yeah,
I don't
realigned.
know. I don't know
What's
what
on the
will.
easy burger?
Yeah,
It's good, eh?
100%.
Oh,
Shout
my
out to them.
word.
So
I clearly
good.
need to go to Izzy's. Like,
Right?
Kat,
That's amazing.
Right?
It's a little family.
It's a date.
Cool experience.
Like they're really cool people who work there.
Okay.
I love that.
Shout out to Izzy's Burgers. You have earned this free shout out. I'm telling you, your burgers are apparently legendary, and we are coming very soon. And on that note, what a fantastic
It's been great,
conversation with arguably now officially our favorite band in South Africa.
man.
I am happy to be dragged for this band. Thank you for the time you've spent
you.
having this conversation with us. You are up to a whole lot of stuff this summer. So can we, as we wrap up, get a sense of where is Goodluck going? How do we catch you guys?
Yeah.
You've recently done this phenomenal concert at Kirstenbosch. And,
Yes.
and I mean, I just live for these annual concerts that you guys do in South Africa. But you are going wordkant. Where are you going for summer?
Heading overseas first. We're heading to the UK, Ireland. The first time we're playing in Dublin,
Oh,
and
my
we're
word.
back to Vietnam as well. And we've got some shows to sell. We've sold out our show in London, in Manchester, in Dublin, but we've got a couple shows we need to sell. So if anyone knows anyone in Southampton, in
Come on,
Sheffield,
Southampton. Come on.
and
Brighton.
Brighton,
Sheffield.
tell
Come on,
your
Brighton.
friends to come to the show because we're wanting to fill those up as well.
That's right.
go.
And then we are back for our summer season, Get Lucky Summer, which we're really excited about.
Hey.
We're going to be up and down the garden route from Cape Town all the way up to Pledge.
There's a
We've
big
got-
one in Cape Town this year.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the 9th of December in Constantia Sports Fields.
Who knows? Maybe we might do another one in January.
There's a promise of another one.
Come on.
And then we're also doing East London for the first time with that. And then New Year's Eve, we're going to be in Plett and up and down the garden route in
And
Eisner. And then we are playing at Hey Neighbour, which we're very excited about
Ooh,
in
that's gonna be
Joburg.
huge.
So if you're watching from Jersey, please come on down to that.
Beautiful.
Am I missing anything important, Tim?
You got it all. I
Okay.
think you got it all.
I think, and then also just watch out our social media. We post our gigs there, and come and put down your phone and come and dance and experience music and have a time and have some time out for your brain. Like that's what we want to
love
do. We
that.
want to just create moments where everyone can connect with each other and have a bit of R&R like through music, like what you were talking about.
Oh, sorry, the Durban Rage, Durban Belita Rage.
Belita Rage. Oh yeah, that's what we covered
sorry.
Do you know
everywhere.
the date
Durban.
for that one?
I think it's the 1st of December.
For us locals?
Yeah, 1st of December.
Yeah.
It's Rage, but I don't think it's
Okay.
only open to Matrix. So
Okay.
if you want to...
Are you doing anything during the summer holiday for South Africans, like Cape Townians? Are you doing anything? Are you kind of done for the year?
No,
this
that's all the
side?
Get Lucky Summer. So that's all the Plett,
Up and down the
Neisner, up
garden
and
route.
down
Where
the
can
coast.
we get that schedule?
All of that will be on our
hardcore fans?
our Instagram.
There we go. Which is?
and
at?
we at Goodluck Live.
There we go.
And then just hit the link tree in our bio, and it'll just take you down the rabbit hole.
Lucky Summer website. Which
Yeah,
will have.
getluckysummer.co.za.
Yeah.
Okay. On the final note,
Yes,
from a wellness point of view,
yes,
in 5 years' time,
yeah.
what do you wish for yourselves?
Deep question.
Before I hand over to Kat, I wanted to ask you this final wellness question before we do Wellnessology Minute and then say goodbye to our pluggers. you are a band that lives the experience of good luck. So as we wish you good luck out there, I would love to be able to wish the future yous good luck as well. So it matters. We are a community, as Kat has said. We are a wellness tribe, and we love to hear what it is that you wish for yourself. It can be anything. It's just really a spontaneous question.
I want health.
Oh yeah.
I want wealth.
Yes, please.
Which are two like easy ones to work on, I think. And I want to like be able to look back and go, wow, I've really fostered and grown the relationships and the friendships that I have in my life.
And that's exactly what we wish you, Ben.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Tim?
We're going to go, health first as well. A healthy gig tour schedule. New music out, released. And I guess to see the businesses be involved in a healthy, financial and wholesome space. Those would be my ones.
Well said, and that's what we wish for you. Jules?
I want to be happy, and I want all the people around me who I care about to be happy, and that's a very extended network because I care about each and every single one of our fans and even our future fans. So I want happiness. But not saying exclusively, because I think you need the contrast to be able to know what happiness is, right? So
that's what we wish.
So that's and I think a bit of peace would be nice, like mentally, just a bit more calmness in my life would be great. And what else? And I think more connection to the moment, the people, the family, and I think those three things for me, and health, of course. But that if you don't know what that looks like, and if there's a journey that you need to go down to realize that what it means to be healthy, if I have to go through that experience, then I will, and I'll do it as I'll be as brave as I can be.
Yeah,
so,
well said.
And that's what we wish for you. And I'm not leaving
so much
my little
more.
brother behind.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you're
for me,
in an interesting journey. What the next 5 years? What do you
for
wish?
me, next 5 years, good grief. I didn't know that this question was going to be reflected on me like that. But I think I to bring it back to one of the things I said earlier on, I want to look back at the last 5 years and go, I've really been of value to my community. That's the one thing, man, this little boy that's in my life, I want to look back and go like, I've done my best to be the best dad I can be to him. And I guess on a personal note, feeling like I have eked the most out of every opportunity that's come my way, made the best of the opportunities that have come my way. When all?
There's a reason I asked all of you first, because this entire episode for me has been an entire experience of courage. And I did say I was going to share with the pluggers. So there is a reason, obviously, I've been absent. And as a wellness doctor, it's been important that I not run away from moments that are teachable moments, but also are really important. I've spent 17 years of my life advocating wellness. It's been an incredible journey. You have reminded me today why it continues to be an incredible journey. And what I'm most hopeful and what I wish the most is, one, to stay alive long enough to continue seeing more of these conversations. So what I wish for myself is a really great clean bill of health, especially after what I've gone through. I will be sharing with the pluggers what's been going on, but there's a reason our season has had an interruption, and I had to really sit in the corner and think, because I have been with you guys in one way or form for 17 years preaching wellness, and it's always easier when things are going well to tell everybody, do this, do that. It's when we are faced with a challenge that it becomes even more important. So in full disclosure, we're calling this the Wellnessology Minute. I was diagnosed with a serious medical condition, which, as it turns out, was silently causing some life-threatening complications. In my case, the complications were caught on time. And as much as it can be scary to find yourself in a position where you've been healthy your whole life and then suddenly your body is crumbling, what I discovered through this process was why wellness has mattered to me my entire life. I didn't know that I would live 40 years of clean health and then suddenly have everything that can happen. But the beauty is, by the time the unexpected happened, I had a community of honest, accountable people to lean on. And it made me realize why we do what we do on this podcast. This community we've created is for you as well as pluggers to come plug in and ask your questions. There are a couple of things that this journey has taught me. The first is that I'm human. I know, shocking, right? Doctors are human too. But the second thing has been, what is the purpose of legacy? And I'm clearer and sharper on why I'm here. I know that the work that I do here will live longer than me. And one of the reasons I think this episode took on different meaning was, at the point when things happened, we weren't sure that I would be here today, but I'm here. And that's through faith, that's through spiritual healing, that's through the wonderful team that I have, because what is critical about understanding our wellness is that when we pay attention to the signs, you can save your own life. Had I not paid attention to the signs I noticed in my own body, it would have been a different story. People don't like to go into this side of wellness because it's scary. But I'm here as your doctor saying, I'm sitting here on this chair alive. I'm sitting on this chair brave. I'm sitting on this chair ready for what comes ahead. What comes ahead for me, because I've asked other public personalities to share their stories, is that I have a major surgery happening next week. And what would make me happy about the 17 years I've spent with all of you is for us to continue spreading our personal messages of wellness. What is critical to leave all my pluggers is this. When we're young, we always tend to take our health for granted. If there's one thing I want to leave with all of you today from the experience I've been through, is that part of keeping well is going for your checkup. When you are feeling great, do not neglect your health. Your body is designed to save you when trouble hits. And so much that is happening in our bodies is not communicated externally. I also want to take the moment to thank my team, because when I did go for my checkup, that's when things were found. So I was feeling fine at the time that all the stuff was discovered. As much as we have different feelings about medicine and doctors and all of that, they are part of the healing process. I'm engaged in a lot of different ways to stay grounded in my healing journey, but I know that there are so many people out there in a hospital bed, at home in a bed, alone. Being ill is a lonely journey. After spending 8 weeks in bed alone, I know what you've been going through. So I hope, if anything, this Goodluck prescription that we've given you together inspires you, not just to get out of that bed, but to believe you will be okay again. I am living proof right now that you can be okay even when the storms are hitting. But because I'm a wellness doctor, it's a very interesting message for me now, because I'm living your journey. All the patients that I've treated over the past 17 years, I now know exactly how you actually feel. Because up until this point, I have had it easy medically, you could say. And so when the scary bit happened, this is what I want to say to you. Don't give up. If there's one thing that's been powerful about being able to sit with you today, is that I know that what helped me get out of bed and be here today is because I don't give up as a rule. But what was special about today's episode is I got to share not just what I'm going through with people that I didn't know a few hours ago, but that I actually just got to share this day, this moment. And it will power me into that theater, honey. Trust me, they will not know what's happening. But I really just want to thank all of you for presenting your stories and your journeys so generously. Wellness doesn't happen in secrecy. And what's always been great about every project I've embarked on to preach wellness is that I have met fellow soldiers who are willing to share on the journey. And now that I'm in the middle of it myself, it's taken a whole different meaning. I want to thank you, Katlego, for the role you've played on my journey. A lot of people are not aware and are scared of coming to us doctors because of the scary things you have to go through to get the answer. This beautiful brother of mine was with me in one of the scariest parts of this journey. And for that, you will always have a special place in my heart. Because let me tell you, I now know what an MRI is like, and it's not pretty. But the other thing I really want to say is take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves on the good days. Take care of yourselves, especially on the bad days. We're not comfortable around illness. I understand it as a doctor. I understand it even more now having lived through it. It's very easy for us to say, how are you, when everything is looking good. Our eyes are working, our limbs are working, we can hear, we can touch, we can taste. To those of you who have loved ones who are in hospital, who are fighting battles that are unimaginable, it matters more to check on your people when they're not okay. So as hard as it is to face the idea of someone you love not making it, be there for them. Find the strength, be there. It means more in the long run because a lot of people are sick and lonely. Mm-hmm. And we don't talk about that enough. And that's why I wanted to leave them with a prescription from a band that only does uplifting, feel good, recharging music. Because what we're about to do now is going to make some history. So, Dr. Jules, I thought about how do I want to wake up when I get out of my surgery. And I was like, there's the song, man. There's the song. And I was just like, and I know who the band is that does the song. So if you'll indulge me, I do want to give the pluggers a bit of an a cappella moment. Mm-hmm. And it is the breakthrough song that this band came out into the world with. And I know because I am one of those people that loves to have impromptu moments. I don't always like things to be scripted. I'll start and we'll sing it because you know the song. All I'm going to need from Ben and Tim is the beat. They're the masters, ne?
I'm here for the vibe.
And
I don't know what song it is. I hope it's something.
She knows exactly what song it is, right? Because there's nothing more uplifting than if you're sitting alone in a hospital bed and you hear good music. So this one is for the pluggers that are out there dealing with a lot, and we just want to leave you with something uplifting. They broke into the industry internationally with this song, and you've remixed it a couple of times. But what I still love about it is the lyrics are incredibly happy, but they're nostalgic, and they kind of transport people to a day where everything was simple and great. And what most people want when they're not doing well is to go back to a time that in their mind they can remember, I was good here and I'm going to make it through. Sure. So I know you and I can give them a good luck prescription, but just disclaimer, ne? I've got like that karaoke version of it. That karaoke talent.
I love it. Let's do it.
So we'll by this, but I know you know the song, so now you know what beat to create for us, right?
You started.
Okay, so all I need from you is, I don't know, there's so many instruments in the song where I was just like, I gotta choose what we're gonna do. So I was like, I'm gonna go back to the high school days where we used to do simple beats. So it's just, you'll see when we start singing that it's actually a completely different beat. So Ben, if you want to change midstream, you do it. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I know what song it is.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we used to run, hands up, hands up.
No complications, no second thought, just
Hands up, hands up.
And I would walk away if they asked me to.
Oh, that's it, Jules.
And I live another day just to spend with you.
Tell him, Jules. What?
'Cause I loved you like the sound of the ocean, rhythm, the emotion.
You can come in with the saxophone now.
Come on, cat harmonies. I loved you like the sound of the ocean, rhythm, the emotion, rhythm, rhythm, the emotion. Everyone sings this part away.
And if you're out there all alone, we've got you. On that note, it's a wrap.
Can I just
yes?
I just want to
darling.
say that like you're gonna be amazing. You're gonna soldier through this easily.
Thank
you're so
you,
brave.
Jules. Thank
well
you.
done. And we'll be
Thank
thinking
you.
of you. Tell us when your operation is so we can send you green flames.
Promise.
Good energy and
I
tell
love that
everyone
green
so
flames.
that everyone can just send you the power of the good vibes.
Thank you,
You
honey,
got
and
it,
thank
though.
you for gracing us with your presence. You guys have elevated the podcast. I feel so bad for our next guest, but we have lots to do and we've got a lot of work to do, and that's why I'm going to be right back on this chair. You can count on
we
that.
know.
And that is the good life.
Take us out, kids.
Listen, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Like Dr. G just said, sharing your honesty, helping us find balance in that crucial connection that makes life really worth living. To our pluggers, thank you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. You know where to find us on social media. Share your thoughts with us, share your questions with us, and even on some of the guests that you'd like to see having conversations with us. We would love to hear from you. Take care of yourselves. We love you.
Until next time, bye guys. Bye. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.